that's not dope. Like that's not the way to do this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Out of
So like,
curiosity,
what's
I'm,
up?
I'm very curious now. How do you feel about Madara's ideology then? Do you
Uh,
dislike it? The reason why I'm saying that is because Pain is the OG in terms of chronological order, the
right,
OG peace guy. You know what
right.
I mean?
Whoa.
Madara
Pain was
actually is
wrong.
third in line because Obito, even if he's copying Madara's ideology, he introduces it before Madara himself does. So did you hate that then?
Some
Just out of
context
curiosity.
I want to
Because
add here
honestly,
is
for me,
that me and Kamui go back and forth on this. Madara is objectively correct, and he just doesn't believe it because he's just wrong. Like, he refuses to
no,
listen.
he's not objective. All right. Do you think Madara is objectively correct or not? Let's start with that.
I'm gonna say no. I don't think
Why?
it's
Oh,
objectively
there we
correct.
go.
I have
Another
a
win for me.
100-page college thesis that disagrees with you.
Yeah, 100 pages of misinformation and wrongness.
Okay, why do you
Just
think
because
that?
you made a long paper doesn't make it good.
I will break it down for you point by point, whatever points you have.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I guess let's do it this way. Okay, since you're the one person who says like yes, like tell me why do you think yes?
Have you heard
It
of
was
Plato's Cave?
no.
That's where I usually like to start. All right, so Plato's Cave is, as you can imagine, an idea made by someone named Plato, a real life philosopher. So this is
Right.
literally what Kishimoto references. I mean, Madara is literally in a cave. Obito is like the definition of Plato's Cave. So
Mm.
Obito falls for Plato's Cave, basically. Same for Madara, though. Plato's Cave is the idea of a whole civilization was born and raised and lives only in a cave. They've never seen or experienced or even know of the outside world. They just don't know it exists.
It
So
kind of sounds
they're
like Attack on Titan.
sure, but their entire world is the cave. They've never seen sunlight or anything. They just don't know it exists. Like, they can't even comprehend comprehending it. Like, we don't know quantum physics, but we know quantum physics exists. So it's like if we didn't even know quantum physics exists. So there's just a whole world outside of the world that we know, and we just haven't experienced it. So it's just there. It still exists. It's like, oh, if a tree falls in the forest, does it really make a sound? Well, yes, it does. We just aren't there to hear it. Anyway, so
We
back to
just
Plato's
okay.
Cave. So one person in Plato's Cave, sticking to like Plato here, not Naruto, but specifically with the Plato ideology here. One person goes outside, they experience the world. This is like astonishing to them. It's craziest thing they've ever possibly imagined because they didn't even
Right.
know it, but it's always existed. And so
Right.
with their new worldview, they're more experienced. They understand the world better. They go back into the cave. They don't have to do this, by the way. And they inform the cave dwellers of this outside world. And these cave dwellers, having no ability to even comprehend what he's even talking about because they haven't experienced it through their senses or whatever, their five senses, they just call him crazy. They shun him. They hate him. They ridicule him. So that's basically the end of the Plato idea here. The point,
Okay.
bringing this back to Madara, Madara experiences things above anyone else in all of society, the entire ninja world. He then tries to
I
save them, and the
disagree with that,
ninja
though. He
world
doesn't.
turns against
Yeah,
him.
yeah. Go ahead and finish, but yeah, no, I don't agree with that point. But yeah, go ahead and finish.
I think Kakashi had a worse backstory.
That's literally not what I said. That's literally not what I described at all. So
Well, you
it's
see,
about experience.
I don't think he's experienced anything more than
He absolutely
Whatever,
has. First of
continue.
all, he's an old guy, so that inherently he's experienced more than Kakashi. So suck it, Kamui, based on time
Oh,
alone.
sorry, yeah, because he's old. He had this ideology before he got old.
So Madara has experienced life before, during, and after society. No one else in the ninja world has. He experienced being a kid in the Warring States era before society was formed. He himself formed society and lived in society. And then thirdly, he left that society. He has experienced before, during, and after of society. He is the most qualified to speak on society itself. And all of his ideology is talking about society. But then it goes beyond society. He doesn't just talk about society because that's what he originally thought the problem was. The whole point of the Infinite Tsukuyomi is telling us it was never society's problem. Society is just the smaller issue to the overwhelmingly larger issue. He escaped Plato's cave. He realized society itself is fundamentally flawed because the universe has objective flaws in it. For example,
Right.
starvation exists. This is something that is a problem of society because of the universe itself. It originated with the universe. It's a fundamental flaw of the universe itself. Madara has the capability of changing these universal principles.
Right.
Madara can quite literally make reality perfect. Not society, because that was his original goal, but reality itself. And then society would just exist within that perfect reality. Madara
Okay.
wants to perfect reality. Tell me that's wrong.
Okay, so first of all, you make a good point with that, because actually when you break it down like that, that does make sense. When from Madara's perspective, he's someone who has experienced so many different forms of human interaction, from the warring states period, right, and what it's like to see human beings, in their worst, most primal state, right, to seeing human beings a much more civilized version when they established all these different ninja villages, to afterwards, living outside of the ninja villages, kind of like ostracized from society. So from that perspective, 100%. But the issue with that is because what he was trying to create wasn't reality. It was a dreamlike state. It was literally a genjutsu. It was a fake world. It's acknowledging that yes, the entirety of the world is fucked up, right? And that's just the way things are. But it's not inherently creating some kind of new reality. It's creating some kind of like fake matrix for people to essentially just go to sleep in and enjoy the most positive things, when that's not what life is about. Life is not about just numbing all the pain that occurs through life that everyone experiences, right? And I guess like probably like the biggest like disagreement that we like me and Kamui, I don't want to speak with you. You can tell me if you think differently, but like my like disagreement was saying that like Madara had experienced like more kind of pain and suffering than anybody else, when that's just like one individual person's perspective, right? You can look at it from Kakashi's perspective and say, hey, he never fucking knew his mom. His dad like, hung himself, all this different type of shit. Like his best friend died during a war, like all this different type of shit, right? So you can go into so many different people's stories and say, okay, which person is sadder? Which person is sadder? That's not the point though. The point is whatever you experience in life, how are you trying to make the best of it? To be able to look at, the light as opposed to focusing so much on the shadows, right? If you kind of understand what I'm talking about here, right? The problem is Madara focused so much on the shadows, the darkness of life. He refused to acknowledge the light, the goodness of life, right? Which is basically what Hashirama was trying to teach him and tell him about. It's like, yes, dude, we went through the Warring States period. It was fucked up. We lost family members, but we created something so much better. That's what he was talking about. Like, dude, you can create new bonds with people. You can make new friends, okay? Different people. Like, you can form different relationships. But Madara refused to do so. He cut himself off from reality, just like Obito. And he forced Obito to basically do the same thing. That's why he fucking lied to Obito. He manipulated all these events because he wanted Obito to have the same perspective that he did, in the sense of, I need this guy to go ahead and fulfill my plan, but he's not going to be able to do so if he doesn't have my mentality. So I need him to be cut off from society. And in order to do so, I'm going to destroy every single one of his relationships, which is not that hard because he doesn't have that much to begin with. He has fucking Rin, Minato, Kakashi. That's basically it. I'm going to go ahead and set up this whole thing to kill Rin. I'm going to have Kakashi be set up to do that shit. So you're going to cut those two off. And Minato is just off like, you fucking being a sensei and everything like that. He's not even around. So effectively, when he did that, he made Obito into a junior version of him. You know what I mean? But that's why you tie it back to the end of the war arc. And it's why like Madara essentially like kind of admitted, I know he didn't really kind of admit that Hashirama was right, but he kind of like was saying like, hey, okay, maybe I should have listened to what you were saying a little bit more, seeing that this is everything that my plans turned out to be like, because at the end of the day, what he was doing was wrong. You can't just ignore reality, ignore all the goodness of life and just focus on the darkness and say, hey, yeah, I'm going to make this fucking fake world. That's the answer to everything. No, the fuck it isn't, dude. Okay, ignoring the problems in life is never the answer. That's never the answer. And that's essentially what Madara was trying to do. So as nice as it sounds, where Madara was trying to basically be the person to save humanity and rise above it and all this shit. If anything, what he was doing was he was just trying to put this blanket over everybody else's pain, because in reality, he was just trying to cover up his own pain as well. He never got past his own trauma.
I'm so glad about that last part, Oodie. You will hate my future video. And I'm going to leave it at that, but I'm so glad you said that last part.
Him? Just to clarify. What last part are you glad that someone said?
Well, he's just covering up. I'm going to keep it vaguer. He's essentially taking a weakness of his and a dream of his and protruding it onto the rest of the world. I'm going to leave it vague intentionally. I'm going to intentionally leave it vague for you, but that is what he's doing in many ways.
Okay, well, I purposefully wanted to let you finish because you gave me a lot of things to address, like multiple different points. And again, I have a 100-page college thesis, so everything I have said, I said it much more elegantly, nuanced, detailed there, with pretty prose, as well as way more points that I could never even begin to get on in this discussion in the first place. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. But in general, before I address that, Trippy, do you have any thoughts on this at all? Any ideas?
I mean, you kind of just already talked about them all.
Okay.
I mean, Oodie, let's just put it in a simple way. Okay, remember Itachi's lovely genjutsu that kills Izumi in the novel? Okay, so ignoring context in terms of like what is happening in the Uchiha Massacre.
Well, let's just sure. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out the way to word. I don't
to make
mean
myself right. Okay. Go ahead, Kamui. Let's ignore the context.
Well, the point isn't okay. So. I know, like, there's an Uchiha Massacre going on, but, like...
Oh, yeah, it's just that side thing.
No, because this is why... Okay, I'm trying to figure out the best way to...
not a big deal or anything. It's just an Uchiha Massacre.
But essentially, what... Hold on. No, but, okay. Itachi did it to kill her during the Uchiha Massacre, but imagine Itachi had done it, like, 5 years earlier before the Uchiha Massacre was even a consideration. Okay. Would that be objectively right? He let her live out a dream world. Like, it is, if she's going to die, it's a beautiful way to die. But would it be objectively right for him to have done that versus let her live out her normal life?
Yes.
Assuming no Uchiha Massacre is going to happen. It's just randomly happening.
Yes.
Would that be objectively right or wrong?
Yes, right. It's objectively right.
So it's objectively right to kill someone?
No, that's not what he did.
Yes, it is. He killed her with the genjutsu.
She died. He didn't kill her.
Yes, he did.
No,
he caused her to die.
Wait,
yeah,
yes.
He caused
genjutsu made her die.
I agree. She died. She wasn't killed. I agree. He caused her to die.
Wait.
He killed her by making her age so fast. Essentially, he still killed her.
He didn't physically age her.
Wait, hold on. But that's like saying. Yeah, Itachi used the Tsukuyomi on Kakashi, but Kakashi just ended up in the hospital by himself. Like, no,
yeah,
didn't.
Itachi didn't put him in a coma.
It's so different. It's so different. Freaking
no,
Itachi's girlfriend wasn't stabbed for 3 days straight, with the time actually being 1/6 of normal time. So it was like 18 days.
But that's not.
The point is the sensations Kakashi felt in the. No, it is the same thing, because the difference here is Itachi and the genjutsu made her become old, essentially.
Why? Why did it do that?
Case,
why? What does that mean? That's not even true. That's not how it happens. You're explaining it wrong.
I'm explaining it very simply. The point is, she lived up her whole entire life, and as her brain essentially aged. That is more or less what happened. Like, the way it worked is it made her essentially age and die of old age. It's basically what happened. That's how she died.
Doug says, I didn't kill her, Your Honor. I simply sped up her life. Itachi and Oodie's hypothetical. That is wrong because, again, her life isn't being sped up. That doesn't make sense. Her lifespan is the exact same. You guys don't understand what happened. Kamui, you've seen Jujutsu Kaisen.
Her brain thought she was the 9-year-old woman and died.
That's not why she died. That's not why she died.
Yes, it is.
What happened to her is the same thing that in Jujutsu Kaisen, Gojo's domain does to everyone. To Jogo.
Don't spoil me. I don't know what happened there.
It's literally season 1. You've literally read the manga. I don't want to hear it. It's like one of the first things
I haven't read the whole manga.
Okay, I understand. It's in season 1. You get to see Gojo's domain.
Yeah, I don't remember like what his domain did.
The universe thing.
Makes you see everything and not see anything at all at the same time.
So the point of his domain is it floods your mind with information. A ton of information over a very short amount of time. So even someone made the calculations in chat earlier. It's like if you look in Gojo's domain for 10 seconds, that's 25 years. If you look in it for 1 second, it's like 6 months or something. Someone did the calculations in the chat earlier. Anyways, the same thing here is happening with Izuna. Within a picosecond, she's experiencing 60 years. And all of that overflow information is what kills her because her mind cannot begin to function.
Can't process that information.
Yeah, it's literally,
like
her mind is just overwhelmed.
Like a good analogy for that.
I don't know the technical wording of how they said the reason she died because I haven't actually read the novel. I'm just going purely off memory.
Is it.
The same thing. Okay, it's the same point though. Itachi killed her.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did, Oodie. That is killing her.
No,
okay, if I stab you and you die because you bled out, okay, I still killed you, okay?
I've used this against Juju. I don't want to hear it.
Okay, so like, look, so like, you guys are both right, okay?
Yeah, I am right. I agree.
On one aspect, on one aspect, right?
Yeah, but that aspect more so means in my favor.
In one aspect, right? Izumi did die because, and a good analogy for this is like a computer, for example, right? The brain is often like seen as like basically like the mainframe of the or the motherboard, I should say, of a computer, right?
Yeah.
It's essentially like overloading a computer with so much information to the point where it literally just spazzes out. You know, you ever have a computer where there's like too many tabs open and shit, and you got like 3 different applications?
Oh, we know somebody here.
No, I don't. I have no idea. No clue.
Yeah.
I've never done that.
I got that on my computer right now. But like, you know what I mean, though, right?
Yeah.
Too much information for that computer to process at a time, so it literally short circuit and just like freezes the fuck out. And you can compare that to what happened to Izumi. All that information was literally just input into her brain in like, what would you say, a picosecond? Like, it's absolutely insane. And she just died from that because her brain cannot process all that. No one's brain can process all that information, right? But on the other side, that is a way in which Itachi did kill her because he was the one who put all that information into her brain. Her brain can't handle that, okay? It's not like this just happened.
Itachi's the one who carried out the action. That's the point. Like I said, if I stab you, you're not going to say, no, the knife killed you. It's the one who stabbed you with the knife. The knife was the weapon. The genjutsu was the weapon. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, Itachi is the one who killed her. It's literally stated that he killed his lover, okay? Everybody just gets words it that way.
Wow, all those YouTubers who make their clickbait videos word it that way? Itachi, crazy. Okay,
the
so
characters in the story worded that way.
Like a computer, Izumi literally froze. She crashed. Yeah. Izumi crashed.
Okay, but Itachi intentionally made her do that.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. That's why he did it. He needed to kill her, so he killed her in the best possible way.
I disagree that nobody could process that information. We don't know that to be true in Naruto. For all we know, Shikamaru's smart. He could process that information.
That's actually a perfect point, right? Because look, if we go back to what Itachi's original mission was to do what? Eliminate every fucking member outside of a Sasuke from the Uchiha clan. Nobody else could fucking live, right?
Yeah.
Because of that, he said, okay, this other student, this other fucking academy member, right, that I knew very well, Izumi, who cares about me, all this shit, whatever.
It's his
right?
girlfriend. It's literally his lover.
I still need to kill her because that is my duty to the fucking village. But I'm also not a heartless fucking piece of shit. So
I mean, tell that to Fugaku. But...
I'm gonna still carry out my job, which is killing her, but I'm gonna do so in a way in which she gets to still experience life and the best things about life. You know,
I disagree.
Finding a family, all this, whatever, right?
I think
she does experience all that shit. So it's kind of like a twofold thing where it's like, yes, you know, she experienced all of life and everything, but he still killed her because that's his job.
I don't think it was
also,
premeditated.
but this is, it wasn't real life, though. It wasn't real life. It was a made-up life Itachi came up with, essentially. And that's why I asked you, Oodie. I said, was that objectively correct? Like, if I'm thinking, if he's not Uchiha massacring, he just does this out of the blue. He just walks up to any random person and does the same thing.
In the
Is
novel,
that objectively correct?
In the novel,
I think most people would say no.
there to slaughter her. He cannot bring himself to do it. So he changes it to put her under genjutsu. Let's keep in mind, Obito's helping him. So if Izumi lived, either Itachi's leaving or Itachi has to slaughter her. But he couldn't bring himself to do it.
He has to kill her, yes. So he chose the best way.
Obito would be the one to kill her. No, he's not trying to kill her. It's not premeditated.
Yes,
he's putting her under genjutsu.
That is so stupid.
Okay, then why would he waste his chakra? Knowing he has to fight Fugaku after.
Because he wants her to live out a nice life. He wants to kill her in a great way.
That's nonsense.
He doesn't want to do it in a heartless way.
You didn't answer my question.
He's willing to risk his own body, eyesight, everything because he cares about Izumi. He has to kill her. He doesn't have a choice. He's only allowed to
He couldn't bring himself to kill her, so instead he killed her. Yeah, okay.
He killed her in the best way he could. Like, Itachi doesn't want to kill any of these people. Minus maybe those 3 dudes, whatever their names are, the assholes. Outside of them, he doesn't want to kill anyone.
He had no idea it would kill her. He had no idea.
Yes, he did.
There's no
That's
precedent.
so stupid.
There's no reason he would know.
Even, like,
why would
Itachi
know? Why would Itachi know that would kill her? It's genjutsu.
So
why would genjutsu even kill her? The whole point of doing it was to put her under genjutsu.
Wait, okay, so let me ask you this question then. Right? If the whole point was to put her under genjutsu, who was gonna kill her? Because she had to die.
I already answered that. Either the genjutsu doesn't work and Izumi breaks out, and Itachi does have to slaughter her, like he originally intended to do. That was the whole point of confronting her.
That's not.
In the novel, I read it. You didn't. Or he
but he definitely
and Obito kills her.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Itachi knew. I don't need to read this novel to know that I'm sure Itachi knew that he was going to kill her with this. Regardless if he originally was going to slaughter her and change his mind on the spot, once he decided to do the genjutsu, he knew she was dying.
Let's look at it this way, right? Let's look at it this way. We're talking about the same Itachi who killed his parents as well. So Itachi, despite the fact that he cared about her, Itachi still held his duty to the village at the #1 level, right? He knew what his job was. He was going to kill her, period. He was not going to let Obito go ahead and kill her in any way.
He delegated Obito to the police force anyway. So, like, the only reason Obito would kill her is like in the anime where she's just at the police force. Otherwise, like, Itachi's doing it.
Can we really envision a situation where Itachi was like, "Hey, my gosh, Obito, can you kill her? I can't do it." Like,
what do you mean? Yes, I can. He couldn't even bring himself to kill his parents until Sasuke walked in.
I can't. The guy had enough resolve to kill his fucking parents, dude. He would kill anyone. The only person he literally said he would keep alive.
The anime is filler because the novel clarifies he couldn't do it until he heard Sasuke's voice. Sasuke's voice is the reason he did it.
Okay, either way, he still did it.
He didn't have the resolve. He needed outside help.
He got the resolve when Sasuke spoke.
That's Sasuke doing it then. Sasuke killed his parents. I don't want to hear it. I'm done with you, Kamui. I'm done with you.
No, so anyway, Oodie, though, the point is, never mind Izumi. Okay, if Itachi just does the same thing to, like, Ebisu on July 27th is a hot sunny day in the Leaf Village, and Itachi just walks up to Ebisu and does that same genjutsu thing, lives out Ebisu's life. Okay, blah blah blah, and he dies. Would that be objectively correct or no?
No, because Ebisu doesn't want to marry Itachi.
No, he doesn't have to. I don't mean like the married part. I'm just saying he lives out a happy life in the dream.
The answer
it's a
is
different
yes.
dream.
The answer is yes. It's objectively correct.
No, some bullshit right there.
Okay, what if Ebisu doesn't die? What if Ebisu just lives out his perfect life in a picosecond and then just lives? Because he can handle that
Probably
information.
not.
If anything, Ebisu's probably top of the list of people most likely to survive it.
I don't
Literally
think
the
so.
interrogation guy.
I think
No, he's
Ramen.
not.
I think
That's
Ramen.
a
guy's the
Oh,
only
you're
one.
right.
Ebisu is Konohamaru's
Shut up.
sensei.
No, I didn't say that. I'm cutting it out. Doesn't count.
I think Ramen guy's the only one that would have survived that shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
listen.
Go Teuchi.
Let's say you're the morgue technician, the morguarian. Okay, you're the morguarian, the morguer. You're Morgue himself. You morgued all over him. So what are you writing on the death certificate? How did Izumi die?
Well, that's a question that can't be answered
Itachi.
fully.
Tsukuyomi her to death.
Yes, it
But
can.
but like, this is the thing though, right? You can't really answer that question and like ask. You can't ask it like, how would you like analyze her death? Because the way that we would analyze death, we wouldn't be able to detect that shit. But the regular like ninjutsu specialists using chakra and shit, they may be able to utilize different methods to the point where they can see, like analyze her brain.
Okay,
I don't even.
that's
know.
fine.
You know what I mean?
Let's
and
assume
see some
they
kind
can.
of damage that happened.
Yes. Let's assume. Okay, well, there's no damage that happened, but let's assume they do that. Again, the hypothetical was you are in the Naruto village as the Morgurer. So you're the Morgurer, and you in the Naruto village have the ninjutsu to see what happened to her. What do you write down on your death certificate for Izumi?
I don't know what they write on a death certificate, so I don't know how it would sound.
Okay, well, let me answer how it works in real life. In real life, you don't write stabbed death. You don't write gunshot wound. You don't write cancer. You write liver failure. You write loss of blood.
Okay, probably brain failure of something of that sort.
Okay, so then she died of natural causes. I don't want to hear it. Thank you. GG.
It's like you just said. If somebody stabs you, they don't write stab wound. They write liver failure. They died of natural causes. That's what I was saying. Like, if I stab you and you bleed out, now, okay, I'm the one who murdered you. Okay, I'm going to jail for murdering you. Okay, I'm not gonna just get off the hook because you bled out. Like something else happened next. Like, I'm still going to jail. Okay, Itachi murdered her. Now, Trippy, you there? Trippy?
Yeah.
Okay, if Itachi did the Tsukuyomi death thing to Ebisu, would that be objectively correct or?
That's not the correct
question.
question. Hang on, no. How did Izumi die? How did Izumi die, Trippy? No, that's the next question. That's the next question. Okay, well, I'm asking my question more recently, so he needs to answer my question in the correct order.
No, yell, Trippy. I don't see you yelling. I don't see the green thing. There we go. Trippy, I want to see the green symbol around your name.
No, you're not going to die of laughter on your death certificate. It's going to be your die of asphyxiation.
Yeah, okay.
Trippy, say words.
Say words.
Speak the English language.
Say the words that I want you to say.
If you prefer, you can speak the language of that YouTuber that we laughed at titles earlier, but preferably speak normal English.
No,
What if
it wouldn't
Naruto
be
trained
correct,
God
I
like?
would say.
Exactly.
Wait, say that again.
Would not be objectively correct to do that.
You
no.
said it would be?
Oh, thank you.
You said it would
So
be.
now we can segue to
All
the
right,
next
so
point.
Trippy, make
What
the case
Madara
for
is doing
why
with the
it would
infinite
be objectively
Tsukuyomi
correct.
is more or less the same thing. He's killing people, turning them into Zetsu, mind you.
He doesn't know that.
It's just ending them, essentially.
And he doesn't
He's
do that.
ending their
Kaguya
life.
does that.
No, Madara, it was still going to happen anyway.
You can't prove
Because
that.
the infinite Tsukuyomi
Because
does that.
Kaguya
So Madara
specifies that she
unknowingly-
does it to make a Zetsu army. Madara never does. You don't know.
No, Zetsu says the infinite Tsukuyomi doesn't just trap you in dreams. It turns them into white Zetsu. He literally explains it. It's happening regardless of Kaguya.
Yeah, black
because that's
Zetsu
what the
says it,
infinite
not white
Tsukuyomi-
Zetsu. Black Zetsu wouldn't know.
I said black Zetsu.
Yeah, I know. I said black Zetsu wouldn't know. Only white Zetsu would. Because white Zetsus are the infinite Tsukuyomi people.
I think Black Setsu knows.
There's an overwhelming probability, but you can't prove it, is my point.
Okay, but it's definitely more likely that he knows than that he doesn't know.
I would debate otherwise for the sake of debate, but I don't want to do that, so we're moving
You just
on.
admitted that it's overwhelmingly probable.
I'm cutting that out, too. I'm cutting it out.
Okay, the fact of the matter is that the infinite Tsukuyomi is what creates the White Setsu soldiers. That is largely the point. The point is to amass chakra and create White Setsu soldiers. That's why Kaguya does the jutsu.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to everything Jiro said 40 minutes ago before we talked about freaking Itachi and Izumi. Oh my god, freaking Kamui. Okay, so to address everything you said, even though it's been 40 minutes and you've addressed like 6 different things, so I'm definitely going to forget some things.
I'll try to repeat anything if I remember.
Yeah. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't.
No, you're good, man. We went on a fucking tangent, bro.
Yeah. Let me also, for the sake of stream, let me pull up this, I guess. Sure. Okay. Let me also zoom in.
Oodie, I like how, just random, I like how in your R Pocket Dimension Shinjutsu, you didn't leave an option for no. You only had yes answers.
Anyways. Okay. So, why did Madara leave? Because I did say he left society, but I didn't specify why. Anyone? Or
Okay,
should
specify why.
Okay, I will specify why. It's because he realized society was failing. Society was a failure. Hashirama made a mistake. Everything Hashirama did, it wasn't good. It was all actually totality bad. I agree. Individually, society added good. I will give you that, Jiro. But society also added bad. And society added way more bad than it did good. Society was a failure.
I want to argue, but I don't want to give away a future thing.
Oh my god!
It's gonna happen 5 years from now at this rate.
Okay, let's keep in mind because
so I don't know what to do.
So the Warring States era had small-fledged battles, as Madara puts it, because of society's foundation, because of Hashirama's mistake. The first Great Shinobi War, the second Great Shinobi War, the third Great Shinobi War, and now this fourth Great Shinobi War have occurred. That is Madara's words. Not word for word, but basically literally what he says. This is why I emphasize it so much. So Choji's death in the Sasuke retrieval arc, that's because of Hashirama. Obito being crushed, that's Hashirama. Hashirama crushed Obito.
Okay, so I see what you're saying, but let me ask you this question before I talk about this manga panel. Why did Madara walk back those statements essentially? And when I say walk back,
you mean when he was dying at the very end?
Not literally the statements of reality was failing, like you were saying, but he essentially walked back that kind of mindset of saying maybe my method of doing things was wrong. Why do you think he did that then?
Okay, so you're talking about at the very end after they defeat Kaguya.
Oh yeah, actually that's funny. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, Madara himself admits he was wrong.
Okay, so Kamui, shut up. Jiro, that isn't what he says. So I've debated this with ATG countless times. We've pulled up the scan and looked word for word. You just subjectively disagree with me, and there's no way for either of us to prove it. I don't think he conceded anything.
Let me go find the chapter. Probably 695, maybe.
I have the chapter right in front of my face.
What chapter is it?
Yeah.
691, maybe.
Let me see. I just put it up on Quora, so I don't even know the specific chapter, but I have the actual.
691. Yeah. I got the Madara and Hashirama talking.
Yeah. But before we even get into that, why do you think that Madara basically didn't admit that he was wrong?
Well, he says perhaps that he was wrong. He at least says, but perhaps Hashirama, his way was the correct way. He is kind of saying, yes, the perhaps, it implies that, maybe he was still right, but he seems to believe that he's wrong at this point.
No, I disagree.
Because look at it this way. He says, but perhaps because he's talking with Hashirama here, right? And he says,
691.
he's like, Hashirama's like, our job is to do all that we can while we're alive, then bequeath the rest to the future generations or whatever. Madara's like, it's so simplistic as usual. You were always so optimistic, but perhaps that is the correct way. My dreams will squash, but yours are still relevant and ongoing. You know what I'm saying?
Also, there's another thing. Like I said, I'm gonna leave this vague. It gets me so excited to one day do this video. But when Madara points out that, like, or Hashirama says it was more important to cultivate those who would come after us, and Madara says, which means I would have failed anyway, since I always hated having someone stand behind me. All I'm gonna say, Oodie, is just let that sink into Madara's character, and I'll one day get back to you.
Okay, and he also says, at the same time, since you're presenting your side of the argument, he also says, as soft as ever, foo-foo, you've always been that glass half-full idiot. So he's an idiot, but he's right? Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean...
That's like, literally Naruto's character. He's an idiot, that's right.
But see, that's the thing, though. It's like, it's not... I mean, we could talk about context, and we can disagree with it, but I'm thinking that's idiot, like you're calling your one of your boys, like, dude, you're a dumbass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, also,
okay. What about this? What about this?
I don't know what site you're reading it from, because just on mine, he's just so simplistic as usual. You were always optimistic.
Okay, give me the Japanese.
So that's what mine says.
So mine also says, you and I, despite always dreaming and reaching for the stars, we could never touch them. He doesn't say I, he says we. Hashirama still failed. Madara failed, but Hashirama still failed. Hashirama never succeeded.
They both failed.
Madara succeeded for a time. He's failing now because he's dying.
No, because the point is Hashirama failed, but his ideology, like, is Naruto embodies and is succeeding, essentially. That's the point.
But the thing is, Madara doesn't even have the ability to defend himself as someone dying. Hashirama does most of the speaking here. He basically is the one trying to convince Madara, and we see it through Hashirama's perspective with the sad music, with the inspirational music. We think Hashirama's right because he's the good guy here. Look at it actually as it is. He doesn't concede anything.
I'm still curious, like, what you're reading yours on, just because your translation was just noticeably different from ours. Where are you reading it?
Manga.
I know that you always use Viz.
Viz.com, but yeah.
But, like, what are you actually using?
Manga Lot was on Viz for this moment of time. It must have been a glitch.
Okay, but like to that point, right? So you said that Hashirama, like both Hashirama and Madara are wrong. But Hashirama wasn't wrong, though. That's the thing. Like, in this, literally, you can go to this manga chapter, this manga panel here, where it talks about what, like, Hashirama himself literally talks about what his goal was. Our job is to do all that we can do while we're alive, and then bequeath the rest for the future generations to accomplish. So what was Hashirama's main goal, right? What was Hashirama's main goal? Was to bring world peace basically to the ninja, the fucking ninja world, right?
And he failed.
If you wanted to kind of but he didn't, though.
What happens right after this? Revolution.
No, it didn't, because literally in this manga panel, literally saying, and then bequeath the rest to the future generations. His plan is still ongoing.
That's Hagoromo's plan.
Because he bequeaths it to the... So essentially, Naruto is the person in this, like, overall speaking. He's bequeathing it to Naruto.
That's Hashirama's plan, and Hashirama's plan is wrong.
Embodies the same philosophy. He bequeaths it to Ashura. Then he bequeaths it to Naruto to handle. Naruto
can't handle it. Naruto didn't handle it. Look at Boruto.
Okay. Well, perfect, right? So we're in Boruto right now. Let me ask you the question real quick. Say that semblance of peace have been achieved in the ninja world, yes or no? No, okay. I actually disagree with that.
Tell it to
because
Onoki's
I do think
kid.
some semblance of peace have actually been achieved. Because let's take the Otsutsuki out of it for a second, right? Because they are an alien.
They're not part of the ninja world. Like,
it's the same thing that's always happening. Kids are dying more than ever.
Not more than ever.
Yes, more than ever.
They're
compared to the Warring States era, absolutely more than ever. Look at Onoki's
Who said
kid.
What are you talking about?
Onoki's kid? Literally,
like
all
3
of
people
Kobe?
died and he got butthurt. Dude, like 3 people died and he got upset. That was
Oh
not
man,
more
remember
than
when
ever.
Rin died and Obito got butthurt? Man, remember when Obito got crushed and Kakashi got butthurt?
Udi, but you
Man,
said
remember
more
when
than ever.
Choji
Udi, the
died
problem
and
is you
Naruto
didn't
got
say
butthurt?
kids still died. You said more than ever. Blatantly not true. Many more kids were dying in the Third Great Ninja War when kids were on the battlefield, okay? Let's be real. Not more kids than ever. Yes, it's not perfect yet. The point is they've made tremendous progress.
They'll
So what is
never
Naruto
be
eventually
perfect.
going to do?
They
He's
will
going to
never get perfect
bequeath
because they live
this
in
to the
they live in this
future
universe.
generations to come. Maybe Boruto's generation will perfect it. Maybe it'll be
Society
Sato's
can never be
generation after
perfected
Boruto.
because a perfect society in an imperfect universe is inherently imperfect. They can never overcome this. They can never perfect society. And you know what?
That's fine. But the point is, they don't. But you're also missing the point of life here. Like the world doesn't need to be perfect. Madara's Infinite Tsukuyomi is not perfect. It's killing people. Turn them into white Zetsu. They're becoming inhuman. Like
You can't prove that.
So.
You can't prove
The
that.
Zetsu are not human.
You can't prove it. Can't prove that either.
Like,
You also can't prove
abundantly
that.
clear. They're like
But-
trees.
You can't prove that. You cannot prove that.
Okay, so
They look
like,
human to
okay,
me.
But
so
like
you look
the
at it-
point is, Oodie, more or less what you're saying is humanity needs to just not exist. Okay,
That's
sure,
not what I'm
you
saying.
can
That's
look at it that way.
completely not what I'm saying.
But, like-
not even close.
Yes, it is because
No,
he's
it's-
ending humanity.
He's not ending humanity.
The Infinite Tsukuyomi is not.
He's turning
real.
them into Zetsu. That's like saying
God.
turn everyone into a
You're
dog.
so
Now
wrong,
the world's
Kamui,
perfect.
because even if you want to say that, that's not Madara's plan. Madara's plan isn't to turn them into Zetsu.
Okay, but his plan is still to end them. Essentially, they're gonna die.
No,
It's
they
like-
aren't.
Okay, it's on it. Udi,
That's
you
not
know
his
what? It's
plan.
kind of like Zeke's plan. They're going to die, though. He knows they're not going to live forever. Why would they live forever?
Zeke's plan isn't
Okay,
to
but
kill
like-
them.
Okay,
No, but
you're
the
right.
point is,
You're-
the
no,
point
no, no,
is
no,
Zeke's
no.
plan is that they're just going to die
Okay,
peacefully.
so
You're right, right?
No, I've never heard you say that
I
Zeke's
am
plan was
right, I
objectively
agree.
correct.
Madara's plan
You
was
say
not.
Aaron's correct, not Zeke. So why the
Madara's
flip
plan.
flop?
Madara's plan was not to kill them. You are right about that. But the thing is, he's not helping reality either. His main thing is essentially everyone go the fuck to sleep.
Yeah, okay,
That's
he's
basically what he's
pausing.
going.
Yeah.
Everyone go to
Yeah.
sleep. Fixing
And stay
reality.
asleep.
That's just telling people go to sleep, pretend the reality is not real, and I'll make sure it's not real because you're gonna be fucking dreaming the entire time. That's not fixing reality. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah, that's
not
also true.
helping
He's
the
not
truth.
creating
fixing
a
reality.
new
He's
reality.
objective. He's
What is
avoiding
reality?
reality, not
What is
fixing
reality? What is
No, that's
reality? What is reality?
No, but the thing is, he's not fixing reality. He's avoiding reality.
That's fine. Reality
That's
should
what
be
he's
avoided.
doing. But
But see, but that's the thing
that
though.
is subjective.
But see,
It is
see,
not
but this is-
objective.
See, this is the thing though. He can't sit there and say, you know, he's gonna fix reality or Hashirama's way is wrong if the way that he went about it is not actually fixing the problem either. You know what I'm saying? It's like saying, hey, we need to go ahead and paint this wall, but I'm gonna do so by fucking nailing this fucking nail in this other wall over here. It's like you're not addressing the problem, which is fixing or painting this wall right here. If the issue if the issue is fixing the issue with reality, the solution is not everybody go the fuck to sleep and dream.
That's not
That's not a solution
that's
to
not
reality.
the issue. That's not the issue here. That's not the issue. The issue is
What do you-
people.
what-
So, like I said, define reality. You didn't, so I'll do it for you, just like I defined cringe for that other guy. So, reality is objective. It's the entire universe and the way it works, the way it operates naturally, the fundamental universal principles. That is reality. That's objective. How do we experience reality is the part that matters and the part that we haven't even touched on, but the part that I've been meaning to get to for a while. So we experience it. I
Okay, but
made
Oodie,
sure to point this out.
let me just
in the
quote
Play-Doh
Itachi.
analogy.
One's reality might be another's illusion.
Itachi's
okay?
an idiot.
So,
So like I was
no,
saying,
he's not. He's
What?
right because no,
Itachi
because that's
is the
it literally
antithesis
is.
of
No,
Madara.
it is right because
He's
Madara is
objectively
not
wrong.
in the Infinite Tsukuyomi. So it
Madara
is an
doesn't
illusion.
have to be in the
Madara
Infinite Tsukuyomi.
knows it's an illusion.
Kamui,
He's
you
not even
keep
experiencing
trying
himself.
to go on to the next point before I make my current one.
Because I don't want to hear your bullshit.
Oh my god.
I also was supposed to go to bed an hour 15 minutes ago, but here I am debating you.
I blame Madara, but
What? That's your guy.
Madara is objectively wrong, dude. And also, Dutch is right. He's not fixing, he's coping. He's making everyone cope. If Madara isn't the Pope, he's the cope.
He's the coper. The coper. He's the coper. He's just coping with all this shit, you know?
Okay, how do you experience reality?
Through your own perspective.
No, through your 5 senses. Exactly, your 5 senses. Or more, depending on how many senses you think. The point is, we experience a subjective view of reality through our senses. Our senses are also flawed. For example, we have vision, but we can't see microwaves. We can't see oxygen. We know it's there through science, but we can't see it. Our senses are flawed. We can't understand the world. We are in Plato's cave. We in reality, you and me right now are in Plato's cave because we can never comprehend reality perfectly because our senses will
neither
never
can
be
Madara.
perfect. Madara
neither can Madara, and neither did Madara. That's
Madara did.
Madara is a flawed person too.
What do you think the Infinite Tsukiyomi is? So the Infinite Tsukiyomi is everyone's perfect universe. So you will experience reality perfectly in the Infinite Tsukiyomi.
But that,
let me just pull up the anime scene of Hinata looking incredibly uncomfortable about the whole thing.
Hold on. That point that you just said right there literally goes against what you're talking about what reality is. You do know that, right?
What do you mean?
You can't sit there and say that what Madara was doing was basically like bringing everybody, everyone going into their own reality, if that isn't reality.
Yes, it is.
It's not
it
reality,
is to them.
Dude.
Again, reality is objective.
It's not, no, but see, that's
the point of Madara.
But
is
your definition,
people.
right? Your definition of reality goes against what you're saying right now, which is it's to them. There is no to them. There is reality.
Yes.
Our experience is reality.
What is
in
Madara's end goal?
Physical
what is
world
Madara fixing? The point of defining reality isn't to say Madara's fixing reality. Madara has no reason to care about reality. Madara cares about people. People have a subjective, flawed, imperfect view of reality. That's what matters. Madara fixes that. Madara fixes people.
What you're trying to do is separate people from reality, and you can't do that.
That doesn't make sense. Explain.
It does make sense. Human beings are social creatures.
Okay. They socialize in the Infinite Tsukiyomi.
But they don't actually social. It's just
the point
dream,
is
dude.
they think they do. Like Kamui, you said they're pretending. Oh, they'll just pretend. They'll be dreaming. They're not dreaming and they're not pretending. They are fully conscious, awake, aware in the Infinite Tsukiyomi, and they have no idea they're in it. To them, that is reality, and they are experiencing it perfectly. They cannot be happy. They think it's reality. Just like right now, we can't be 100% certain we are in reality. For all you know, you are asleep right now. For all you know, you're an alien xenoplaque on the planet Quagglebubble, and you're in your VR headset right now. And you have been for the past 20 years. You don't know. But by God, you want to be Kamui. You want to be in this reality. You want to be Jiro. You don't want to wake
dude.
up.
I want to be in the real reality. I'm telling you that right now.
Okay, you don't know what that is. You think it's this reality.
I want to be in the real one.
Okay, you think it's this one.
No, whichever one is real, that's the one I want to be in.
Exactly. I agree. And so the Infinite Tsukiyomi people agree as well. Everyone agrees.
No, but hold on. I'm actually trying to find...
What, Hinata pretending like she's uncomfortable or whatever before she's actually wrapped up?
She's not pretending, dude.
Okay. The point is Hinata falls for it too. Everyone at first is like, oh, this is not reality. This is the Infinite Tsukiyomi. And then guess what happens?
All like
they pretty much immediately after are like,
scary,
oh yeah, this is reality.
Uncomfortable laugh, dude. Hold on. Which is freaking...
10-10 waits the longest, and she's not even in the Infinite Tsukiyomi. She gets teleported to the Naruto Road to Ninja universe.
Who?
10-10. She's the one that survives the longest.
Yeah, actually, I just watched that episode. I was like, holy shit, dude. That's like the...
Yeah, I rewatched
stuff.
it too, yeah. Well, now I rewatch it.
Yeah,
I
was just like skimming through it. Yeah.
Is it because I've
been? But I was like, hold on. I thought I was in that. I was like, am I watching that filler episode?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I was so confused for a second.
The point is, at the end of the episode, she thinks it's reality. They all achieve exactly what they've ever wanted. But then a lot of people say, like someone brought up earlier, oh, it's a contradiction. Madara is a hypocrite. Madara is the only one who can acknowledge this. Madara, first of all, acknowledges that all humans are flawed. He's a human. So he falls for the duality of humans. He tells this to Tobirama. He says that humans, on one hand, crave peace, yet on the other hand, they desire conflict. Madara acknowledges this. So he's fine.
He's a walking example.
Doesn't make it perfect.
As well.
I completely agree.
Example.
So Madara doesn't try to hide this like everyone else does. Everyone else in reality, Naruto's a hypocrite. He's like, oh, I want peace. No, he doesn't. He wants conflict as well. Everyone wants conflict. So Madara embraces this. That's the difference. He doubles down.
That part I don't.
No, Madara pretends, but he pretends like he doesn't want fighting when he does. Like
he never pretends he doesn't want fighting. He always wants fighting. He himself says this. He says it to Tobirama out loud.
But he also acts like he's like above. It's like hard to explain here, but it's like
he's literally above everyone in terms of physical combat and experience. Why would Naruto be trusted? Why should Hashirama trust Naruto over Madara? Why would Naruto have more experience?
No, actually, Oodie, no, what? Hold on. What's his face? Madara is not above everyone in experience. Okay. Kakuzu lived for a longer time.
No, he didn't. Kakuzu was what, 80, 90? How old was Madara?
I mean, he's a similar age to Madara and Hashirama, except Kakuzu died later.
Prove it. How old was Madara?
I mean, he fought Hashirama a long-ass time ago.
How old was Madara when he died? How old was Madara? I'm not letting you get away from this, Kamui. I know you're trying to change the topic.
Madara died when Obito was like Madara died when like Obito was like 14. Kakuzu was alive like 15 years later. So I mean, unless Kakuzu fought Hashirama when he was like 2, which probably didn't happen, Kakuzu's got to be like a similar birth year to them. Except he lived later.
I mean, based off Kakuzu's jutsu, right, which he's essentially just recycling different people's hearts and shit to just live longer. He would have had to have had that jutsu, you would think, sometime around the time he fought Hashirama. You know what I mean? So that just inherently.
No, actually, he gets the jutsu after. The reason he steals the jutsu is because
that is true. That is true.
Ridicules him for losing to Hashirama.
That is true. That is true. No, you're right about that. But to that point though, he's a grown-ass adult to where he's even going on that mission to begin with. They're not going to send some fucking regular academy student.
Yeah, they're not sending a 13-year-old kid to fight the first Hokage. Like he's a grown man at this point. Like he's got to be born a similar year to them, but he also lives like 15 years later. Actually, 20 years later.
Okay, but again, this is a fundamental misunderstanding with my original point. It has nothing to do with their sad, tragic backstory.
You brought up his old age.
It has nothing to do with the timing of how old they are or the years they're alive. It has to do with the experience.
No, you specifically brought that up.
Itself. I don't care if I brought it up. You brought up Kakuzu. I don't want to hear it.
Well, because he's older.
In fact, I don't think I did bring it up. I think you're just gaslighting me.
No, you did bring it up. You brought up his old age.
No, I didn't. I'm pretty sure I didn't.
I don't know the timestamp.
I'm pretty sure I didn't. But anyways,
you did mention it. I remember word for word what you said.
No, because I know word for word what I said. My question was, why should Hashirama trust Naruto over Madara when Madara has more experience with society?
Because Madara's wrong.
No, wait. Because
shut up, Kamui. That's not an answer.
He wants to trust Naruto.
That's why he doesn't trust Madara because Madara's wrong, but he trusts Naruto because Naruto's right.
Do you have an actual answer?
Because Naruto's actually trying to go ahead and move forward with Hashirama's goal. Madara isn't. That's why.
Because Hashirama's goal is also fundamentally flawed. That's the point. Hashirama was always wrong.
How can you say he's wrong, though?
What is his end goal? What is his end goal?
His end goal is to try to create as much peace in the ninja world as possible.
He failed. And he will always fail.
No, he didn't fail.
His goal will always be a failure.
you can say that, but this is the thing. His ultimate goal is not to just, get to this kind of, goal of creating ninja world peace in ninja world, right? Because yes, you can look at it in a way and say, you know what, creating true peace in an imperfect world is impossible. Yeah, you can look at it that way, but that doesn't mean you don't try and attempt to get as close to that as possible. And I kind of misspoke earlier, but that's really what it is. Try and get the ninja world as close to world peace as possible. What we can't achieve now, we're going to leave it for our next generation, who we raise up in these methods, so they can go ahead and take on this role and move it forward. Okay, that's his main goal.
Why is trying and failing to achieve perfection better than achieving perfection?
Because the perfection you're talking about isn't perfection. It's a dream. It is. It's a lie.
No. It's not to them. Keep in mind, Madara understood the duality of man. He understood both peace and conflict. So in the Infinite Tsukuyomi, you see it. Everyone is still fighting. Everyone is still at conflict, but they love it because that's the duality of humans. That is their perfection. What my version of perfection is not your idea of perfection.
Oodie, that just brings up but that brings up the next point then. If all this conflict is what everyone wants, then the world was perfect already.
No.
And Madara doesn't need to change anything. They're literally living the same life.
Kamui, you're either disingenuous or you just don't understand.
I'm just being a little bit disingenuous, but like, but the point is, like, if freaking Yamato wants a world where he's fighting Kabuto and shit, well, he already has that, so.
But he can't do that forever. He can do that forever in the Infinite Tsukuyomi. And he can
always
win.
Once he defeats Kabuto, he's defeated Kabuto. He's going to move on to someone else. That can happen in real life. Frankly, the Infinite Tsukuyomi isn't even that much different. Like, in terms of, like, their dreams, it's basically real life with just a slight twist. It's some bullshit, dude.
No, it's not. Oh, there was other things. There was, like, 6 things you brought up. What other things did you bring up, Jiro, in your speech an hour ago?
Oh, my gosh, man. You're trying to give me more credit for my memory than I do have.
Exactly.
He said a lot of good things.
Mm-hmm.
Is any of this saved, or is this like just fucking delete and like it's gone?
No, it's saved.
Okay, all right. So we can always like kind of go back and just like I guess check the fucking timestamp or whatever. Like,
well, we can't do that in this stream.
Well, yeah, I haven't made the timestamp. All right, guys. So hang on. Give me 4 hours. I'm gonna do the timestamp really quick. We'll come back.
But no, if we ever go back and like check this shit out, and if I ever come back to like one of these, which has been dope, honestly. I haven't even said that, but talking with y'all has been pretty cool. But yeah, no, like if we ever do this again, I know you see you guys do this like once a week, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, so I mean, like I'd be happy to come back and like chop it up with you guys. But that's besides the point. To kind of get back to the whole thing with what I was talking about, and I guess like the main point that like I really have like an issue with, not one of the main points, but like at least like one of them is. You're trying to like separate, Madara's care for human beings from society, because I remember you had said earlier that Madara has like no reason to care about society. He only cares about human beings, but human beings.
I said he doesn't care about reality.
Society.
I never said he doesn't care about society.
Or reality, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But see, that's the thing though. Human beings are a major part of reality.
Okay.
So you can't really have one without the other. Say you can care about one section but not care about the other when both are really intertwined.
I don't think human beings are a part of reality. I think life can be a part of reality. The building blocks of life are all there. Through the chemistry, it's possible to combine the different elements to create life over time. And that life just so happened to turn into the humans that we know. Into complex life. It started out as simple life, but it turned into complex life just through evolution and stuff. But that's more so of life. That's not so reality. But the point is that potential was there in reality. It wasn't always destined or anything to be in reality.
Okay, so I mean, but like that kind of gets into like a different thing that we probably disagree with because you kind of believe in like the whole evolution and like everyone's like just an amalgamation of a whole bunch of different like elements, which partially is true. But I believe that people have souls, that people were designed, the way that they are. That reality and the world that we live in was made for human beings and for all the different animals that that reside in it, right? So I believe that they're intertwined. Right.
I was specifically speaking only on the Naruto universe. I wasn't commenting on our universe or us. This is something that a lot of people like to do when we have discussions such as this. Because the series, I don't blame them. This is natural. This is what the writer intends you to do, is try to relate things back to your own life based on the fiction.
Reflect
the
things,
point
right.
is that fiction isn't nonfiction. It's there. You have to draw the distinction when discussing things like this. So, for example, we can say that we want world peace. Obviously, that's obvious. Like, no one wants starvation. This is why we have charities. We all donate to charities, etc., etc., to prevent child nonsense, anything that's bad. That's not to say that we have the ability or comprehension to even understand what a perfect world would be. I'm saying we can't do that. Madara did.
I disagree.
Frankly, Oodie, why don't you think Obito is objectively right?
No, I didn't say that. I said Madara is.
Yeah, but why don't you?
Why don't I? Read my paper. I go over every reason for every character. Obito, Pain, everyone. Really, Kamui, I didn't want to talk on this whole Madara thing, especially for this long, because I especially wanted to talk about this with Hot Boy Spicy. Which he's coming.
Oh, does he disagree with you too?
No, I don't know. I haven't talked to him about this. But I imagine he'll.
Hopefully he does.
Yeah, but I wanted to dedicate most of that stream to that. But yeah, so that's unfortunate we talked about most of the points because we're just gonna repeat them. But anyways, that's a good warm up. Good practice session. Good job, y'all.
All right, so I mean, obviously it is important to make sure you clarify the distinction between nonfiction and fiction shit.
Yeah.
But you did bring up an earlier point, which I think is important, which is, a lot of these different things, which is why you can appreciate stuff like Naruto, is because it has these philosophical concepts which you can kind of think a little bit longer about and reflect on, things happening in the real world. So for instance, right, if we're just kind of, doing some hypotheticals, we can, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, right, in terms of if you ask most people, would they say, do you want world peace? Most people say yes, of course, right? How you go and achieve it, and people just bring up a whole bunch of different ideas. Let's say someone like Madara came about and said, hey, I can achieve true world peace by doing the infinite Tsukiyomi shit. Do you think people would agree with that? Or do you think people would agree that that would achieve world peace?
I don't think that's possible. Not only do I think it's fundamentally impossible for them to have the ability to do something like that. Obviously, Madara had the infinite Tsukiyomi. Even if he didn't, I think he could have found another way. But I don't think there's any ability out there like that. I do think we can alter universal principles. For example,
oh no, okay. Hold on. Let me.
Well, I know you. I know. I'm just getting to this first. I know what you're trying to get to, but like I say, I think we can alter universal principles through quantum mechanics or through advanced scientific methods such as harnessing the powers of stars by rotating things around it to collect their energy, harvest their energy, and then with that infinite surplus potential of energy, we can then vastly improve our technology, etc., etc. And it just leads to a line of where we could probably alter the fundamental way this universe operates in the first place. I think that's possible, especially through quantum mechanics. But the point you wanted to get to is the philosophy. Can someone even understand that? And even if they did, would people even believe that? Because again, Plato's cave, can we escape Plato's cave? Can we have a perfect idea of what reality should be? So, for example, let me just throw out a random factor of the universe. Let's say gravity is 9.68 meters per second. I don't remember exactly what it is. That's probably close, right? 9.8, 9 point something.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember.
That's one
think it's
factor of the
9.8.
universe. That's not for every planet. Obviously, that's just for Earth. But like,
It might be 9.68 or something.
the point
I
is
think
that
it was 9.
gravity always exists everywhere to some degree, regardless of Earth. Like, the Earth spawned because 2 asteroids had gravity. Gravity existed. You can upscale or downscale the gravity if you control those fundamental factors. You can literally change the variables. So Madara had the perfect variables. He knew the statistics of what was correct for all of the factors. Not for gravity, for everything.
Well,
that was
wait.
the Infinite Tsukuyomi.
Huh? Wait,
So,
hold on. Say that again.
Madara knew the statistics of the variables of what was perfect.
No, he didn't. He just.
We
No, he
can't.
didn't. It's not
We
like
don't
he doesn't
know that. We
actively
can't.
like pick and choose everyone's dream. It's just happening.
I agree.
But he doesn't know the statistics. He was misled by a black blob. Okay, like
He was misled. You don't understand, Kamui. You don't understand. Go back and read the series. Unbelievable.
But, like,
you said that.
he was misled. He was
He didn't
misled
meet
by
Black
Zetsu.
Zetsu until after he fought Hashirama. Until after he was an old man. He thought it was a Rinnegan technique, if I remember. He thought it was his will.
But no, the point is he was
fought
misled
with
because of the
Rinnegan.
stone tablet was messed by Black Zetsu.
Misled,
So he was always
said.
misled.
That's not why he left. That's not why he left at all. It's because he saw society fail. Go back and listen to his words.
If
His
the
speech.
if
He
the
has like a
stone
4-minute
tablet
speech on this. It's during the Rain
Oodie.
song.
If as far as the Infinite Tsukuyomi goes, if that's not on the stone tablet, Madara doesn't even know it exists. So
don't
yes, he
care.
was misled.
He wasn't misled because
He's
the
not
Infinite
coming
Tsukuyomi
to
is
the
correct.
he's
It's
not coming to your
objectively correct.
statistic of
Madara's
the Infinite Tsukuyomi.
ideology is correct. That's the point.
No, it's not.
He puts you in your perfect universe where your statistics are already variabilized.
If there was a godly person who asked me, "Do you want to be in this dream world or just keep living?"
Dream world.
I'm going to keep living. I'm
I
not
know
going to
you
the
are.
dream world.
If a godly being this is so dumb. This is so dumb because you don't know you're in the dream world. You think you're in reality in the dream world. The same way now you think you're in
the
reality.
current reality is the point. I'm staying in the current one.
Exactly.
The one I think is real.
The one you think is real. That's my point. Earlier, you said you want to be in reality, the real
The simplest
reality.
thing to boil
You've
down to is
changed it.
Madara is forcing people to do something they don't want to do.
You
That's
already
not
hit the
right.
critical contradiction. And guess what? When they're in the Infinite Tsukuyomi, they want to be in the Infinite Tsukuyomi. This goes back to what I was saying originally when Jiro first came on. The audience doesn't know what they want.
Doesn't seem very happy.
The audience doesn't know what
I
they
don't remember
want.
what episode it was.
Yeah, before she's actually in the
remember it
Infinite
exists.
Tsukuyomi. Crazy how it's before she's in the Infinite Tsukuyomi. Crazy how she doesn't want to be in it.
No, she was already wrapped up and shit.
Oh my god.
She already
before
had
her
already
dream
got out,
starts.
dude.
Her
She's in
dream
the
hasn't
the
started
Infinite
yet.
Tsukuyomi
She
was already
hasn't
activated,
started.
dude.
Oh
Infinite
my
Tsukuyomi was
God.
already activated.
That's
She
not
just
the
wasn't in her
point.
dream yet.
That's not the point. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, as you know, Trippy tends to have a good word, and I believe he said that Madara was wrong, right?
Madara, Trippy, have you changed your thoughts on the past hour?
Considering I'm Madara,
Exactly,
I'd say
yeah.
I'm right. No, I'm just.
All right,
Dude,
you know
he
what?
said he's
You know
just
what? All right,
kidding.
all right,
He
we're gonna
thinks he's
end it
wrong.
on
I'm
that.
just
We're
kidding.
gonna end it on that. Thanks
No.
for coming to the
Trippy,
WalkyTalky
has
podcast.
gone on
I guess
record
we're
saying
gonna
Madara was
discuss
wrong, if I
scientific
remember
ninja
correct.
tools
Oh, yeah.
next time, and all
See,
the other
Trippy
topics.
thinks he's wrong. He just said, "Oh yeah." So
Shut up.
I don't necessarily think that anyone is right. I think everyone's flawed in their own way, but
Except for
fine
Madara.
by me. Madara is still wrong.
like, there's no right answer to solve the entire world.
Well, that's actually
Yes, there
one
is.
of the
Madara had
points
it.
of-
Madara had it.
No, he did the point is Madara's answer wasn't right. They don't know the right answer. Like Minato said, maybe there
He
isn't a
does.
right answer.
You don't know
But,
it.
like,
Don't bring that
Madara's
on to
isn't right.
Madara. Madara did know the right answer, and he sought to
No, he
achieve
didn't, dude.
it.
Madara
He
himself
strove
thinks
to
he's
achieve
wrong,
his goals
okay?
throughout decades. He thinks he's right
Madara
to
thinks
his
he's wrong
very
after.
death. To his death as he's being badgered on by Hashirama, his worst mortal enemy, who's living gloating, standing above him, kneeling on his chest so he can't even breathe to get out a good word. So he's sitting there having to listen. That's probably why he died. He probably wished he was in Izumi's Genjutsu.
Hashirama wasn't even on Madara. He was next to him. And second of all,
he's probably annoyed to death, which is why he died. He's like, oh my god, please, death, take me away so I can stop listening to this idiot badger on about how he thinks he's right when I'm right. That was what he was thinking at the time.
Okay, so what's your answer to Madara essentially saying, maybe I'm over here paraphrasing. Let me get the actual fucking words of Madara.
Yeah, okay, he says, okay. So Hashirama says our job is to do all that we can while we're alive and then bequeath the rest for the future generations to accomplish. Madara says, so simplistic as usual. Yeah. Hey, you were always optimistic. Yeah. But perhaps that is the correct way. My dream is still relevant and ongoing.
Simplistic and optimistic. Okay, you have one thing, I have two.
Exactly what I was going to say.
If we're going quantity
Madara was pessimistic. Hashirama was optimistic.
Okay, sure. Pessimistic is the way to go then. The universe itself is pessimistic.
Is the correct thing.
The universe itself is pessimistic.
Oh, wait,
no,
so
Madara was no. The universe can't be pessimistic or optimistic. He doesn't have an opinion. Okay, Madara is the pessimistic one.
The point is,
Madara
the universe
was pessimistic about the universe.
Flaws.
Hashirama do you think the universe is perfect? And he's admitting
do you think the universe is perfect?
He's
do you
wrong.
think the Madara? Do you think the Naruto universe is perfect? Does it have the perfect variables?
No.
I think it's
exactly.
Just fine.
You think it's just fine? Okay, well, if you think it's just fine, Kamui, how about you go live in the third great ninja war then?
Udi,
how about you go get crushed by Obito's rock and then tell me it's fine?
You think the Naruto universe was objectively perfect considering how it's a divine 10 out of 10?
Well, okay. Yeah, divine 10 out of 10, but the Infinite Tsukuyomi is a super divine 20 out of 10. So I don't
No, the Infinite Tsukuyomi is a negative 4 out of 10.
That's blasphemy to Oodie.
The question I wanted to ask, why do you think Madara said what he said? Perhaps that is the correct way.
Because he's dying?
Why do you think he said that? No. Why do you think he said about Hashirama's optimistic perspective on life? Why do you think he said, perhaps that is the correct way?
Because he's dying. He wants him to shut up.
No, he doesn't. No. It's not true. Madara got the last word in.
Okay, even then, perhaps. What does the word perhaps mean to you? Yeah, perhaps is less than. Perhaps is less than maybe.
You're focusing on one word. You're focusing on one word. Look at the entire sentence.
No, Oodie. The point is, Madara doesn't know the correct. Obito does a very similar thing. No, Kakashi actually is the one who says it. He does the same thing. He says, I don't know if it's right, but he believes in Naruto. It's kind of the same thing here. Nobody knows what the right answer is. The point is, Madara once believed Hashirama was just straight up wrong and he was straight up right. Now he realizes, you know what? Maybe you were right all along. Maybe that is the correct way. He's not saying definitively 100% it's correct, but he's not. He's admitting
definitively not 100%. It's less than 50%. That's what perhaps means, less than 50%. So he still thinks he's right, even just statistically based on that. It means majority.
Where did you get that? Okay,
I'm right.
I looked up perhaps in the dictionary. Used to express uncertainty or a possibility. Used when one does not wish to be too definite or assertive in the expression of an opinion. Used when making a polite request, offer, suggestion. Where are you getting this less than 50%?
He was being polite. Madara was being polite. He didn't think he was right at all. He was just being polite.
No.
And Kishimoto originates from
bullshit?
Japan.
You made that shit
Japanese
up.
culture is polite.
The question.
Where did you get the less than 50% shit? Because you pulled that out of your ass and expected us to believe it.
What do you mean?
The question is, why do you think the person who literally manipulated a whole bunch of 13-year-olds to murder each other cares about being polite to anybody?
He didn't manipulate anybody.
He manipulated
Obito. What do you mean he didn't manipulate Obito?
Obito chose to do it.
On the perhaps
He manipulated. He tricked. He essentially he manipulated
what did you find,
Obito's life so that Obito would believe the same thing.
Trippy, what did you find?
So this says using either maybe or perhaps is to say something has an equal chance of happening or not happening. So it's 50%.
Listen, we are at a stalemate here, Kamui. We will come back to this with freaking Hot Boy Spicy. I swear.
Oodie made that shit up about the less than 50%. I don't know where that came.
It is 50%. It's 50-50.
It's an uncertainty.
Okay, look at the word perhaps. It's made of the word per, which per is part of a whole, so that's already 50% right there. And then haps. Haps is short for like happening. It's already happened. So less than half of a whole of happening means it hasn't happened. So Hashirama's goal perhaps means Hashirama's goal, his dream, will never happen, is what perhaps means.
That's not what he's saying. Look,
Obito, Oodie just made up English.
I'm gonna fucking pee myself, Jesus Christ.
Look, ultimately, I'm gonna define reality, which is the physical world that we experience through our own consciousness, right? To just sum it up simply, right? Okay. With that said, though, or in fact, that's really more so our perspective. Reality in and of itself, is just the physical world as it exists.
Yeah.
Right.
How we experience it, care about our perception.
How we all experience it from our own perspective, right?
Yeah, how we perceive it is what matters.
Yes and no. And this is the reason why I say that, right? Yes, in the sense that everyone has their own individual perspective, right? You go put up an art that's like abstract painting. You say, what does it look like? Oh, someone says it looks like a fucking whatever, right? Someone says look at something else, right? In that perspective, yes, everyone's the way they look at reality can be different, but no, in the sense that there are fundamental things that we can all agree about on how life is. The way that the trees are outside, the color of the grass outside, okay, the color of the sky outside, right? The oxygen that we breathe. There's fundamental things that make up the physical reality of the world that we live in.
That's fallacious.
Okay, and I bring this
just because we all agree on something doesn't make it true. That's the villager's fallacy. I forget the name of it, but that's the example.
So Oodie, real quick, because you insisted that Madara didn't manipulate Obito, I found several quotes that pretty much
so like I was saying, just because we all agree there's trees and stuff
in order to pitch you into darkness and make you my pawn.
So moving on beyond that, so another philosophy
I
thing
taught
here.
you to use
so
the darkness in people's hearts to manipulate them, didn't I?
And
if there isn't any darkness, you create some. Don't you think it's presumptuous to consider yourself any different?
Life. So my question
for you, for Congrats, for the Hokage and all other shinobi. Once you fell into darkness, you would conversely transform into an equally profound hatred for this world.
Specifically, generally, why is everyone's life imperfect?
Okay, so anyway,
Trippy, your answer? What do you think? Why is everyone's life imperfect? Because I have my own answer. So my answer for this, of why everyone's life is imperfect, is one, there's two reasons. One, because reality itself is inherently imperfect. Two, because our perception is imperfect as well. We are not able to perceive reality perfectly. So even if reality was perfect, we wouldn't be able to perceive it perfectly. So therefore, our perception would be imperfect. Therefore, we would not have perfect lives because our lives are dictated on our subjective views of reality.
Because they still can't perceive it perfectly in the infinite Tsukiyomi. They have the same vision and shit.
Yes,
so it's still imperfect.
No, they can perceive perfectly. All right, so like I was saying,
they can't prove that.
Okay,
as far as I'm aware,
they literally have Rinnegan. They have Rinnegan. They have Rinnegan. They have Rinnegan. I don't want to hear it. They have Rinnegan.
But not in the dream.
The eyes of a god.
They don't have Rinnegan in the dream.
Prove. Well, I don't want to.
They don't have Rinnegans in the dream.
Not based on what we see.
The world perfectly in
not
the
based
dream.
on what we see. They could have it, but we don't know that. Because, and you know what, Kamui? You especially can't know it because you're perceiving the show.
Okay,
and your perceptions, Kamui, are flawed.
Here, and he's showing the reader the God's view.
In reality, the TV screen could be showing the Rinnegan, but we all collectively agree that we can't see it because our perception is flawed.
Then why can't we see the Rinnegan in other scenes if we just can't see a Rinnegan?
Our perception's flawed. It's inconsistent.
Some bullshit right here.
You can't prove me wrong. The point is that it's consistently that I'm right. Okay, so
No,
here's
it
another
isn't.
thing. Here's another thing.
You're
I'm sure
consistently wrong with your
a
nonsensical
general
arguments.
idea that was floating around earlier is that, oh, you don't want a perfect life because of conflict, and like, oh, you need to struggle to survive. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So we all need things because we can't just live a happy life because you need the bad to make the good worth it, right? Oh, you can't have good if you don't have anything to compare it to, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Madara's
that's
so
how
by
it.
your logic, Madara's dream world sucks, dude.
Madara's
Madara's dream world would suck, man, dude. All the more reason he's wrong.
Like I was saying, Kamui, that applies to our reality, our imperfect reality that is flawed, both in and of itself and our perception of it. What if that just wasn't the case? That's just one of the variables of reality. What if that statistic just didn't exist? What if Madara got rid of that in the Infinite Tsukiyomi?
But the problem is he doesn't get rid of it because in the dream world, the same shit happens.
The duality of man.
The point is, all Madara's dream world actually is just like a parallel universe where it's very similar but slightly different.
Yeah, slightly more perfect.
It's just bad.
Because it's completely more perfect.
It's frankly, from a third person's view, dude, each of these dream worlds suck, dude. Everyone's creepy and weird.
It's not your dream world. Why would you want Shino's dream world? Why would you want to ride a bug?
Shino probably had the best dream world, not gonna lie. Everyone else is creepy. Shino probably has the best one.
Exactly. The point is, Kamui, you would have a different dream world where you would think it's perfect. I wouldn't think it perfect because I wouldn't think my dream world is perfect, but you wouldn't think my dream world is perfect.
I think it's perfect the way it is, and Madara's just wrong, dude.
You're just so wrong.
Okay. Dream world, Madara's
but see, this is the thing though. This is another thing you can ask. This is another thing you can ask as well, right? Do you think people would agree to join the Infinite Tsukiyomi?
They don't have
if
to.
they knew the 100% truth of what was going to happen to them, which is they joined this dream world, but they turn into fucking some white Zetsu bullshit, and then they end up dying.
Yeah.
Look at the point of
Nobody
Plato's
would
cave.
agree to
The outside world was objectively better than the cave, but they didn't want to go there because they couldn't understand it. If they understood it, there'd be no reason for them to want to be in the cave. It's just like all of the ninjas in the Naruto universe. They are in the cave because they want to stay in the cave. They fight against Madara because they don't understand what the outside cave is.
And you know what? No,
Madara's
I disagree with you. I think the Infinite Tsukiyomi is the cave, and they're trying to hide. Madara's trying to hide in the cave while everyone else is embracing the outside world. That's how I look at it. The Infinite Tsukiyomi is the trapped cage.
Literally, what was the first thing I said? Plato's cave is in the series. It is Obito and Madara. They are literally in the cave. In a cave. A literal cave.
Yeah, there you go. They're
Plato's
wrong.
cave in the series.
The fucking losers trying to stay in the cave. There you go.
Oh my god. And you know what happens?
Proven.
You know what happens? Obito tries to escape the cave, but he did it wrong. Because he didn't listen to Madara. And you know what happened? Obito immediately despaired.
Obito
Why? Because
left
of
the cave, and that's why he became
because of the fundamental physics of the universe.
This freaking old ass dude snatched the kid, dragged him in a cave, made him stay in the cave until Obito left the cave.
Was perfect because it's the Infinite Tsukiyomi.
No, it wasn't. Madara's cave was the outside world was better, just like Plato's cave. And Madara is the freaking dumbass who wants to stay in there. Realizes he's wrong because Black Zetsu was the one telling him to stay in the cave, and he shouldn't have listened to Black Zetsu. He didn't intentionally listen to him, but
he didn't listen to Black Zetsu.
Well, he listened to him at various points. He just didn't
Black
realize
Zetsu was his
Black
own
Zetsu
will.
He
so
wasn't.
If anything, Black Zetsu was listening to him. Why would he think that?
No,
because Madara is a dumbass who stayed in the cave.
Oh my god.
He was listening to Black Zetsu.
I'm going to the bathroom. Trippy, let's hear your thoughts, and you too, Jiro. You finish your idea.
It's like he was listening to Black Zetsu because who changed the stone tablet? Black Zetsu. And what was Madara ultimately following? The stone tablet that was altered by who? Black Zetsu. So he was listening to Black Zetsu.
He didn't know he was, but he was.
Didn't know he was. He was. Exactly. Which ultimately led to his downfall, which led to him ultimately saying everything that he said right before he officially died, right? All this shit that happened. Wrong. Because he was wrong. He was saying perhaps, but really the reasoning of that is ego. He has a right?
It's the reason he says perhaps is because he doesn't know the right answer, but
I think
he
that
realizes that his answer, what he thought was the perfect answer, probably wasn't the perfect answer.
I think that's part of it, right? I think part of it is he's acknowledging that he doesn't actually know what the right answer is. But I think the other part of him saying perhaps is the same reason why when someone doesn't want to admit they're wrong about something when they're clearly
like
wrong, they say things like, well, not necessarily, or maybe, you know what I mean? Like they just kind of don't outright just say, you know what, I fucked up here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's also like saying like perhaps also, yeah, I mean, yes, technically it could be this, but maybe that's the correct way. But it's also just like he's admitting like, yeah, like you can say like perhaps you have the correct answer when you really believe, yeah, you have the correct answer. But like you just said, it's like you don't want to like fully admit that they're right and you're wrong. Like that is something people do in speech. Like you point out, people do that shit. And Kishimoto could just be like using that real human character in here. Either way, Madara is probably not right. He's definitely not definitively right, and he's admitting that at the very least. Bare minimum, he's not definitively right.
No,
well,
he's
it's
not.
impossible to be objectively correct 100% of the time. Like,
especially when
a perfect world.
Especially when we all acknowledge the point that he's a flawed individual just like the rest, right? Which is why I keep bringing it back to Hashirama's like statement, which is like, yes, perfection is impossible because inherently, like, what is perfection? Like, no one can really define it, right? Because everyone has their own different idea of what perfect is, right? But we all have some general things that we all agree about, you know, about not having world chaos and destruction and killing each other and all that shit. No one really agrees like that's the way to be living, right? But that's why I kind of go back to what Hashirama is saying of we try to bring the ninja world as close as possible to world peace, but anything that we can't achieve, we leave it on to the next generation to try and bring it a little bit closer.
Close as
We're
possible,
always kind of working
and then a little bit closer than as close as possible is still imperfect.
Okay, look, how about we look at it another way, right? Let's take athletes, for example, right? You hear like an athlete say, let's say like a basketball player. Basketball player says, hey, I want to be the best fucking player in the world, right? And they're constantly working and training and everything and trying to be the best possible player, right? And you can look at different examples of like Michael Jordan or LeBron or, you know, whatever, Kobe, and say, are they perfect basketball players, right? Someone may say yes, someone may say no, right? But that's not the point. The point is to pursue the best possible basketball player that you can be and prove every single weakness in your game to try and see what is the best possible level that we can get this to, right? And wherever the chips may fall is wherever the chips may fall, right? And I bring up that analogy to kind of bring it back to what we're talking about over here with Madara and Hashirama and how we try to strive for perfection, you know, for society. We're trying to strive for perfect world peace, right? Knowing that, yes, perfect world peace is inherently impossible because what people see as perfect is always going to be different. But there are general things that we all agree about that we can all kind of push forward to try and get it as closer. So you look at the way that the Naruto world is right now in Boruto, right? It is inherently more peaceful than it was 30 years ago, 60 years ago, back in the Warring States period. And that is what Madara's goal is. It's not necessarily achieving perfection in the ninja world, but is the constant pursuit of trying to make things better than they were beforehand. And that's what I think his goal is. It's the pursuit of these things, the pursuit of trying to make people's lives better, the pursuit of trying to calm down all the war, all the chaos, all the constant fighting, all the constant murdering, right? And in that pursuit, you know, they've achieved a lot of these same things. Look at the way things are right now. The ninja villages, largely at peace. Right? I'm putting away the Otsutsuki because they're, like I said before, they're alien level threats and shit. They're not a part of the ninja world. But the ninja villages, they're not arguing with each other, not really. They're not at war. They're not fighting. So they have gotten much closer to peace than they were before. That pursuit is what I'm talking about. And that pursuit is what Hashirama was talking about and is what Madara was even acknowledging. That, you know what, maybe I couldn't have actually achieved this quote unquote perfect world that I thought would be perfect. But maybe Hashirama, or perhaps if we want to use his terminology, specifically, perhaps maybe your method was actually correct. The pursuit of perfection, of the pursuit of making things perfect, is what we need to be focused on.
And the optimistic view that you can make it better, mind you. Which Madara didn't believe, which was objectively wrong. They did make it better. Also, Oodie, I'm going to mention the Atsuki for a minute. Because they exist.
Hang on, I had words of my own.
I'm going to mention the Atsuki for a minute.
Actually, Jiro,
the Infinite Tsukiyomi actually is going to bring a bigger problem. Because if Madara achieves his Infinite Tsukiyomi, regardless of the Black Zetsu shit.
Like I was saying. Okay, so like I was saying, right? Like I was saying, Kamui, Jiro conceded 5 times, the first time of which is the most important because I don't care about anyone other than that. The first time was when he said, wherever the chips may fall, wherever the chips may fall. So that was his concession. So GG, I'm glad that we had that conversation. And yeah. GG.
Brains are short-circuiting right now.
World stage? He's objectively wrong on the universe stage.
Yeah?
Brains are short-circuiting right now.
No, I didn't. I actually muted you for most of it. But
brains are short-circuiting right now.
I swear to God, are you actually?
Yes.
He didn't.
What the hell, dude?
The stream didn't hear you, though. I don't think so. But
so anyway,
I'd say that
I'm going to continue.
Is never achievable. You'll never achieve perfection, and that's my take on it. Neither of them are as right as the.
Wait. Why doesn't Madara achieve perfection?
Because I mean, look at Tenten. Tenten realized that she was in a dream. That's not perfect.
Tenten wasn't even in the Infinite Tsukiyomi.
They all had Rinnegan eyes.
Of all characters you could have listed, you said Tenten. The character who was teleported to a different dimension physically.
No, she didn't, dude. That was her Infinite Tsukiyomi.
That was her
Infinite Tsukiyomi. I just rewatched the episode. It's Naruto, the Road to Ninja. She gets teleported to that dimension. No,
it's not actually Road to Ninja. It just happens to be basically the same thing.
Oh, yeah, so Tenten's Infinite Tsukiyomi dream just so happens to be Road to Ninja.
If Road to Ninja, a better way to describe it is Road to Ninja was a spoiler for Tenten's Infinite Tsukiyomi dream.
Oh, my.
Like,
okay, hang on.
Obito just had Tenten's Infinite Tsukiyomi dream in a crystal ball.
In the movie, when Obito activates the finite Tsukiyomi, is that not actually the finite Tsukiyomi? Is Naruto being teleported inside of Tenten's Infinite Tsukiyomi? Is that what you're telling me?
Basically. Or they just happen to be the same thing?
I think, yeah. I don't think you need to go on any further than that. I think everyone at home listening knows who's right, based on that.
What? The reality is, it's just that Tenten did not just teleport to the movie. That's some nonsensical bullshit. She has the same dream. It's just like
saying it is doesn't make it true at all. It just makes you sound ridiculous.
No, okay, what you said is ridiculous too. Of what you said. Anyway, coming back to the Atsuki shit, at the end of the day, Madara's plan actually is the worst plan for dealing with these otherworldly threats that will eventually threaten the peace of the world, because they're all freaking wrapped up in the Infinite Tsukiyomi mine. Sorry to say it, guys, but Madara is not defeating all of these Atsuki they come after. It doesn't matter. His plan's objectively flawed because it doesn't solve the problems of the universe around him.
We're arguing Madara's ideology. We're not arguing what actually happens. You are to try and make a point when the point doesn't exist.
Madara's plan wouldn't stop. But the point is, Madara's plan wouldn't solve the problems of the universe, because other things in the universe will just come to destroy it.
I already
he
told
doesn't
you,
solve
I don't
the
care
Atsuki
about
problem.
That.
Yes, you should, because it's still a problem of the reality of the
Madara
universe
and
of Naruto.
I don't care about the universe. We don't care about the Otsuki. We don't care about reality. We care about being the savior of
you've been talking
humanity.
a lot about reality.
Why do you think Madara was the savior of humanity?
He wasn't though. Zetsu literally
was.
told him he wasn't.
Where do you think
No, he
Madara
wasn't.
got
Madara
that from?
wanted to
Do
be
you
the
think
savior.
Madara just
No.
randomly thought of it one
Madara's
day?
ultimate goal is, fuck all this shit. Madara's goal is to be the savior, but he wasn't the savior because his plan was objectively wrong.
Madara didn't believe in it. He knew it was true.
No. He believed it, but his believe it was wrong. And Naruto's believe it was right. But the reality is, Madara wanted to be the savior. This is a very major underlying thing in his character, but he was never meant to be the savior that he so badly wanted to be. Because he's just objectively wrong about being the savior.
Madara activated the Infinite Tsukuyomi. He was the savior. Look at the blank period.
No, he wasn't the savior, dude.
Look at the sons of Madara. Look at everyone who needed therapy after the Infinite Tsukuyomi because of how much better it was than reality. And how much they wanted to go back.
But see, this is the thing.
Those people were stupid. Fucking Boro, I'm not counting Boro's dumbass opinion.
I'm not counting Boro either. That's not what I said. Go ahead, Jiro.
Most of the people of the world were glad to
or
be
not. Sorry, Jiro. Kamui decided to talk
I'm sorry that 1% of the population agreed with Madara, and the other 99% were so glad when they came out of the Infinite Tsukuyomi.
Prove it wasn't 99% agreed with Madara and 1% disagreed.
Most people based off the fact
clearly
that there's
based on
only
nothing.
a very small group of people that agreed with Madara.
Based on nothing.
It's a very small subject cult.
You didn't even
Everyone
know
else
they
doesn't agree with
existed
them.
before I said it.
But see, this is the thing.
You thought I was referring to Boro.
Boro's cult is... There's other people. Yes, there's other people besides Boro's cult, but they're a very small.
I'm not letting you get in the last word. I said sons of Madara, and you thought I was referring to Boro. I wasn't talking about Boro ever. Anytime you mention the word Boro, shows that you have a fundamental misunderstanding with my argument in the first place. So you can't even provide an argument because you can't even be an antithesis when you don't understand my thesis.
Let me just look at the hold on. When they undo the Infinite Tsukuyomi, I just want to see the smiles on people's faces for a minute, just to prove my point here. Okay. Oh yeah. Let's see.
You have to show the smile of every single person in the Shinobi world.
Look at some of these people. They're smiling.
Every single person. Can you show the smile of every single person?
Some
or are
people
you just
are
showing
shocked,
the smiling of the 1%?
The 1%.
No, some people are just shocked. But
yeah, 99%
we have much more people.
They're almost like zombie corpses.
Some people are just dazed. Several people are smiling, very happy.
I mean, obviously they're smiling. They just had the best dream of their freaking life. I smile too right after I wake up.
Smile if the dream ends, then.
Yeah. Afterwards, they'll frown, but they just got out of the dream. Of course, they're smiling because they were smiling in the dream. No. They need time. It's a freeze frame, anyways.
When you define reality, it was wrong, okay? And to say that that Madara didn't care about reality.
Was my definition of reality wrong, or was reality wrong? What is it? You said it was wrong. Was my definition of reality wrong, or was reality itself wrong?
Whatever you said, probably wrong.
Shut up. Jiro, what was your answer?
Yes. Yeah, your previous definition of reality was wrong.
My definition of reality was wrong. Okay, how so? What is the correct definition of reality?
If you want to go technical, we can go Merriam-Webster dictionary.
No, what is your definition of reality? Why do you say my definition is wrong?
What I'm saying is reality, and that's not even my larger point.
No. You said my definition was wrong. I want to hear why. So if you know my definition is wrong enough to say it, that implies you know what the correct definition is, and that correct definition varies from my incorrect definition as you think it is. So what do you think the correct definition of reality is? That made you say that.
I'm saying that reality is the physical world that makes up everything that we experience.
I agree. It is objective.
Okay.
That's the first thing I said.
Okay. Now, to move forward with my major point was that you can't separate reality from society, from people. You can't say that Madara only cares about people but doesn't care about reality when people literally live in reality. You understand what I'm saying? You can't remove one from the other.
I understand what
reality
you're saying.
is
You're
where
not
people
understanding
exist.
what I'm saying.
Okay, clarify what you're saying, because I've been trying. I've been listening to you, man, and I'm like, if that's not what you're saying, then please let me know what you're saying so I can clearly understand.
Madara cares about reality, but what is his way of altering reality? The infinite Tsukiyomi. So there you go.
But see, that's where. But see, but that's what
he wants to avoid reality, as we've been
It's not
talking
avoiding
about.
reality.
Hold on, to that point, though, Oodie, to that point.
Yes, it is, because a
You're saying-
genjutsu is not reality. That's the whole point. It's an illusion.
Exactly.
He's
Like, the
putting
way
people in an
Itachi,
illusion
the
so that they
antithesis
avoid
of
reality.
Madara, described it. I don't care what Itachi says because he's the antithesis of Madara.
No, just genjutsu in general. The infinite Tsukuyomi is a genjutsu. Genjutsu is an illusion art. It is an illusion. It's not
Naruto's
reality.
universe in and of itself isn't reality because we live in reality. So I don't want to hear it.
It's their reality.
Okay, but in the Naruto universe's version of reality, the infinite Tsukuyomi is not reality.
Okay, so let's ask this question. Let's ask this question, Oodie. Let's ask this question. Okay. Do you think what happened to Izumi was reality? Yes or no?
This goes back to my definition of reality.
No,
What
it's
was my
yes or
definition
no.
of
It's yes
reality?
or no. It's yes or no. It's yes or no. Yes or no.
My answer sounds like a contradiction without this context.
No.
With the context that
know,
you
I wonder
refuse to let me
why.
say,
I
you wonder
just want a
that's
yes or no
why
answer.
he doesn't want me to say it. That's why he's trying to get an answer. So I don't give the context. Because with the context, he
just want an
knows I'm right.
answer.
Which is why he's trying to stop me from giving the context. Why would he? Otherwise, why would he not want me to give the context?
You saying are you trying to say I'm not trying to let you give the context?
Yes.
No, you can go ahead and give the context.
Well,
I just
no,
wanted
when I
an answer
tried to
first.
do that, you stopped me so that I would give my answer first. I was always going to give my answer. You knew I was going to do that. I said, I
Ultimately.
started giving my context by saying the word first. Let me give this context.
Regardless, can I get a yes or no answer on that
No,
question?
not until I give my context, which I already gave previously, because we're just backtracking at this point. This is going in circles.
So you can't say either yes or no to the Izumi question?
No, without the context, which I already gave previously.
Okay, can you give it again?
Why should I? It's going back in circles.
I'm asking you a
Backtracking.
question, though.
Yeah, we're backtracking.
asking
Yeah,
you
I
a
can. I don't care to. For the sake
But
of
see,
the
look,
stream, entertainment. If they want to go back and listen to it, they can. But it is already long enough.
Wait,
Just
what's
keep
it- what
short for the
question were you,
viewers.
There's new listeners.
Oh, wow.
There's
That's
new
brutal.
listeners. There's
Harsh, but
there's people
true.
that work the night shift. There's
And
people
you know
that
what?
work
In the
night
Infinite
shift.
Tsukuyomi, we'd have infinite viewers.
Look, but like you understand
Yeah,
what
but they wouldn't be real viewers, so I don't want it. Madara's Infinite Tsukuyomi is like when you buy those stupid fake views, okay? We ain't doing that shit on this podcast. We want real viewers. We want reality, not genjutsu viewers.
Exactly. That's perfect because it's like going on Instagram and like buying followers or some shit. Are those real followers? Yeah, sure, I guess, because the number count changed to like whatever number that you fucking purchased. But are the actual people that went and clicked follow to your Instagram profile? No, they are not. They're a bunch of fucking bots. And that's the main point. Okay? And it goes back to what I was even saying with the whole Izumi and Itachi thing, right? Was what Izumi experienced reality?
That's
no,
disanalogous.
it wasn't. Okay?
It was a genjutsu. It's fake.
It was a lie, exactly. It was a genjutsu. It was fake, right?
No.
I'm asking. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no. Both yes and no. Based on the context.
Okay, why do you? Okay,
Based on
okay,
if you
why do you
include
say
the
yes?
context.
Okay, why do you say yes and no?
So earlier, I forget who, it might have been Trippy, someone used the phrase, their reality. That makes the biggest difference. There is a difference between the reality and their reality. Because what they experience is different from reality.
Okay,
Their
but that's the
experience is
thing.
what
But
matters.
see, Oodie, that's what I'm asking you though. Is what she experienced the reality? I'm not asking about her reality.
No,
I'm
it's
asking,
not the
is what
reality. It is her reality.
That's my
though.
point.
That's what matters.
That's my point.
That's my point
That's
as
my
well.
overall point. That's my point. what Madara is trying to do is not doing anything to the reality.
Yes, it is.
Which is what he's trying to acknowledge. He's trying to focus on people's perception of reality.
I agree.
Well, people's perceptions, like we
It's
talked
both.
about earlier,
It's both.
doesn't necessarily mean it's right or wrong.
Right
or
now,
it's
we're
true,
both
or
right.
actually
Neither of us are wrong. I'm not wrong. You're just trying to frame me as wrong.
You are wrong.
The
I don't think
thing,
anyone's
no.
objectively wrong or right. I just think we're arguing in circles.
You said Tintin. Forget the road to ninja person. I don't want to hear it.
What?
Okay, hang on, Trippy. Let
That
me get
was
your
superhuman,
perspective,
dude.
Trippy. So you're sort of agreeing with like Trippy. You're sort of agreeing. You were agreeing with Kamui, sort of, seemingly, when he was saying like the Hinata thing, right? Like when Hinata was first being wrapped up, she wasn't in the Infinite Tsukuyomi yet, so she wasn't like.
No, I don't remember the specific of when the scene occurs. I just remember this uncomfortable scene of Hinata not liking
the point of
being
saying
in
that
this, wrapped
it's
up in this
similar to what happens with Tintin. When Tintin first enters the Road to Ninja universe, she's like, "Oh man, this is the Infinite Tsukuyomi. I want to be in reality." That's what Trippy was getting at, right? Trippy? Yeah.
Okay.
You say okay.
Even Yamato, I think, has a similar
Yes.
thing.
I agree. Yamato does have a similar thing at the very, very beginning.
But then everyone's happy when they leave it too, because the fucking dream is creepy, dude. Okay, they realize that Madara's
Not
dream
everyone
shit
happy.
is just
That's
weird.
So disingenuous. Using the phrase "everyone" automatically disingenuous. Happy requires
Everyone but
context.
maybe Shino, because Shino's dream is actually normal. Everyone else is weird. Like
The fact you think Shino's dream is normal shows
Okay.
that you're weird.
Was it?
No. The reason why I say
Tsunade's
Shino, I'm joking this, but I'm gonna use Yamato as an example.
Oh my
When I say
God.
it's creepy, I'm talking about like the way that all these characters do these creepy laughs. It's like, oh, why do you look so happy,
Yeah,
creepy,
and you
happy
can't
around me?
comprehend
I'm like,
that
it's just
because you're a
awkward.
miserable sad sack.
What?
Because of your flawed perception of reality, you can't comprehend their happiness because you aren't happy like they are. You're just jealous.
What do you
is what
mean?
it
I
gets down
am
to.
happy. That's how I know it's weird. How weird,
You're
fake
not.
happy
No, you
they
don't.
are.
You don't know it, but you're not truly happy. If you were in the
I
Infinite
do know
Tsukuyomi,
it
you'd
based
be
off
way
of.
happier.
Okay, I've seen Naruto. I've seen what a normal happy Kakashi looks like, and it's definitely not this weird, creepy
Kamui.
Kakashi like in
Kamui,
that dream.
If you were in the Infinite Tsukuyomi, first of all, you wouldn't know it. Second of all, you would be more happy. Third of all,
well,
that happiness would be
Tenten knew it.
permanent.
Tenten knew she was in there.
You
Explain that
honestly-
one.
Okay,
Like you just
once-
said, she said, "Oh, this is the Infinite Tsukuyomi." How did she manage that?
Because she wasn't in it. She was in the finite Tsukuyomi.
He was in the Infinite
She was
Tsukuyomi.
in the Infinite Tsukuyomi.
The fight
Such
in the fight.
She was in the finite. She was the road to ninja in Tsukuyomi. Okay, Tintin
Wait,
aside,
was
going
it-
to Yamato, because you said it happened to Yamato too. I'm not going to
Also,
go back
Oodie,
and
it was the
fact check,
limited
but sure.
Tsukuyomi. I want you to know that.
Oh my God.
Was it Tsunade? Was it Tsunade's Infinite Tsukuyomi? Was it the one where like the whole Uchiha clan, like Sasuke, was like a part of the police force? That was hers, right?
Well,
Yeah.
her Infinite Tsukuyomi was just sitting and reading Jiraiya's book. So it was her perception.
But that
of
was,
what
like, Jiraiya's
book.
book.
Whatever. But also
Oh,
Tsunade's Infinite Tsukuyomi is actually really unique because Jiraiya's not in it. It's sort of implied through the visual that Jiraiya's ghost literally physically delivered her his actual book, like Jiraiya's, like physical actual Jiraiya in reality went into Tsunade's Infinite Tsukuyomi and gave her a spiritual manifestation of her book, like of his book. That is what is implied to some degree.
I have to rewatch the scene.
It's
to say
really cool. It
anything
is
about
really
what
cool. You go
just
back
said.
and rewatch it with that idea in mind. But you could also argue it's Infinite Tsukuyomi. Like both are equally likely, but really I think mine's better. Anyways, some people, when they first enter Infinite Tsukuyomi, before they're wrapped up, even when they're wrapped up, like Tintin, you could argue, even though I'm not going to count Tintin, but you were arguing Yamato earlier. Yamato might have known it for a few seconds. The point is, a few seconds goes by, and then they will never know it again. So it doesn't matter. Because for all of eternity, they're going to be in the Infinite Tsukuyomi. Those few seconds don't matter afterwards. In the long run. Who cares?
So, Oodie, let me ask you this question then. Do you think that Hashirama and Madara were inherently going like trying to solve two different problems?
Not at first. At first, they both believed in society. Hashirama didn't see what Madara saw, the flaws of society. That's where their two different paths separated. It's not because, like Kamui was saying, it's not because, oh, he read the stone tablet. No, it's not because that. You look at their final conversation. Oh, they had two different paths. Where did those paths diverge? Because they were the same at the beginning. That's why they both founded the Hidden Leaf, to stop children from killing each other.
Right.
Okay.
But that's the thing though. How can you say that Hashirama, like, wait, what did you say? Like Hashirama didn't care, like didn't acknowledge that society was flawed? How do you know that? He never said that.
I never said that. You guys are making arguments up for me or changing my arguments entirely.
What did you specifically say with the whole?
Well, actually, what I was saying earlier was that society itself created both positive and negative. Okay, if you completely bypass the negative, yes, society did create positiveness. It created more positive than without society. What I was saying earlier was that if you compare the positive to the negative, it was more negative than it was positive. Madara saw that.
But that's up.
What's up?
But that's up to personal perspective, though. Like that's one person. Like Hashirama, like Madara may believe there's more negative in the world than positive, but from Hashirama's perspective, he can say, "Hey, there's more positive than negative."
This is why I brought up the point of founding society. The point of founding society was to stop kids from killing each other. Society led to more kids killing each other, so it's not subjective in that sense.
But that's not true though, because like literally they talk about during the Warring States period, the literal life expectancy was 30 years old. Not because like people wouldn't live like there weren't any fucking adults or anything, but because or there weren't any old people, but because so many children died.
You can literally say that, but look at what Madara says. What Madara says is what's important on this because he experienced both. He says the Warring States era had fledgling battles compared to the Great Four Wars.
Madara didn't experience the Great Four Wars, though.
He literally did. He experienced all four of them.
He was living. Was he actually out there in the actual fucking world, like experienced this shit, or was he in a fucking cave? You know what I'm saying? Like what?
So you think he was in the cave the whole time and he never had any access to the outside? He literally, actually, yes, he did. Because he's the one that saved Obito.
He couldn't detach from the ghetto statue or else he would die. He literally says that.
Zetsu didn't save Obito. So by the time Madara's an old man,
he is trapped in the cave.
Who saved Obito from underneath the rock?
No, Zetsu grabbed Obito from the rock,
not Madara. No, he didn't. You're wrong. You're just straight
Madara literally says he can't detach himself. He literally says he couldn't detach himself from the ghetto.
He says it to Obito, the person you think he manipulates? Okay, sure.
He literally states that he manipulated Obito, okay?
Okay, so then how did he detach from the tree? So either you're wrong...
Or... When he detaches from the tree, he dies. That's literally what happens.
I think what it is he can't be detached from the tree for that long. Like as soon as he detaches from the tree, like he's about like he has like what like fucking like 5-10 minutes at most or some shit that he has to reattach himself. He doesn't die instantly.
The point is
he literally says, "I'm a cheater of death who would be dead in no time for sure if I weren't continuously siphoning chakra from that ghetto statue behind me."
He also directly tells Obito, "I'm the one that saved you."
Yeah, but Zetsu's the one who literally did it. Like, figuratively, he saved him.
And then not prove it. Prove Zetsu saved him.
Figuratively, also, first of all, when does he say, "I saved you" anyway?
He says it in the manga.
He says, "I patched you up the best I could."
He also says, "It's like you passed straight through it" when referencing the boulder.
Okay, but Oodie,
he was there.
Madara never says, "I went and grabbed you from the boulder."
Yes,
he just says he patched him up. So, Zetsu could have grabbed Obito from the boulder, and then
You're wrong.
Madara just put the bandages on him. That's what happened. Madara never says, "I picked you up out of the rocks and shit."
You're just blatantly wrong.
Zetsu did that.
You're blatantly
How am I blatant? He literally doesn't state that. I'm reading the chapter. He says he patched him up. He never says, I picked you up out of the boulders.
I have it pulled up on my screen right now.
He says that he found him. I can't. Hold on. I can't see.
Well, that's too bad for you.
I have to see your stream. Hold on.
That's too
I
bad.
think it kind of
go to the stream.
I think it kind of gets into some headcanon shit because, like, obviously that point where Madara is talking about, hey, you basically like passed through the boulder. Obviously, that's referring to his fucking Kamui shit.
Yeah,
but obviously, this is like theoretical shit.
Obito, what you're pulling up is not proved. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna fucking do this. Okay.
What do you
He
mean?
literally doesn't say, I'm looking at the chapter, Oodie. He doesn't say he found Obito. What he says is that Obito just was in an underground passageway he had created. Collapsed next to some crumbled rock. Half of your body was mostly... Like, Obito just appeared in front of Madara, more or less.
How would he know?
It maybe Zetsu didn't do it. He just showed up in this passageway.
How would he know?
You said, what do you know?
How would he know? How would Madara know?
Because Obito just showed up. He just says that he just found there. Like he just found him.
Also, oh my God, Kamui, you're done. You're done, kid. You're done, kid. He literally, Obito asked, "Where was I?" Madara says, "In an underground passageway I had created."
It's almost like I just read that to you.
Rock.
Yeah, I just read that to you.
Zetsu doesn't
he
say
was in an underground passageway.
Zetsu doesn't say it. Madara says it. Madara created the underground passageway. You were playing it off like Zetsu saved him.
Well, I said that at first, like as an assumption, which I don't necessarily need for my point.
And then you didn't go back to correct yourself because you wanted to use it.
The point, I already said that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The point, though, is that Obito appeared to him. He did not, like, jump out into the world and climb into these rocks and pick up Obito and bring him back. Obito just fell before him, more or less. He literally says that he can't detach from the ghetto statue or else he will die in no time.
If it's an underground passageway, collapsed next to the crumbled rock that he created, clearly Madara can go there. He's the one that made the passageway.
You want to know what the passageway probably is? It's this fucking passageway they're in. Oh.
Okay, then there you go.
But that's the thing though. He probably made the passageway like soon after like his Izanagi revived him and shit. You know what I mean? When he was still healthy, when he didn't need to be attached to this fucking whatever, thing that was the ghetto statue.
Who knows when he created the passageway? It probably was created beforehand, and this probably is the passageway. Like it's linked to this room they're in.
Okay,
Madara can walk around a little bit. Like, he has a cord. It's like if I have a really long charger cord, well, I can move my phone around with it. I just can't go very far without detaching the cord. Madara's in the same situation here.
Himself says, "So you saved me, Gramps. Thanks."
He technically did. He
patched him up, like Madara says. I patched him up as best I could.
Technically. Oh my God.
Oodie,
thanks for the concession.
I think you're missing the point. Oodie, you're missing the point because Obito. I mean, Obi, why am I freaking getting the names mixed up? Okay, Oodie, are you trying to claim that Madara left this detached from the ghetto statue and just walked over to the Hanabi Bridge and found Obito under the rocks and climbed down and went back home?
That's not what I said.
Because that's what I'm saying he didn't do.
That's not what I said. In fact, that's not what I said.
Then what do you think he did?
He went through the underground passageway, still connected to the tree, and it's not very far, so he just got Obito and brought him back.
That's literally what we're saying he had to have done.
Sure, I'm fine with that.
But like the point I've been making is that he clearly didn't detach from the ghetto statue.
He could have.
No, he couldn't. He literally says he would die in no time at all.
What, to the person you think he's trying to manipulate? Stick to your story, Kamui.
He literally does that. Oodie, in the next chapter, he detaches from the ghetto statue and dies immediately.
That could have been a fake death. That could have been a genjutsu.
No, it wasn't.
Obito was literally under genjutsu.
Before he detached from the ghetto statue.
Yeah, exactly.
After he detached from the ghetto statue,
he was waking up from his hazy days. For all you know, he was still under the genjutsu.
Oodie, he detaches from the ghetto statue and immediately dies.
Let's get back to the.
We're bad at getting back to the original point. Trust me, this is why we make 11-hour streams.
No. Look.
I know. 3 hours after I wanted to go to bed. What am I doing myself?
Well, let's get back to the original point, which is we're discussing whether or not Madara experienced all the different wars and everything, right? After he was killed by Hashirama, okay, he sets off the fucking Izanagi, brings him back to life and shit, but he doesn't go out back into society, really. You know what I mean? Like he basically secludes himself in the fucking cave for decades upon decades, right? Ends up dying in that same cave. Yeah, he goes out to like give out his like, you know, when he does awaken his Rinnegan and shit, he's able to get that shit and give it to fucking Nagato and whatnot. But he's not out there really experiencing a lot of these different wars and things that happens. So to the overall discussion that we were having beforehand, Madara you can't really say that, you know, Madara had experienced all these different wars when in actuality he hadn't, right? So to say that he had like this kind of, you know, holier than thou type of knowledge over like everybody else because of his experience. Yeah, he lived a really long fucking time, but that doesn't mean like his knowledge or his experience is greater than anyone else's, you know? And that was just another point that I really wanted to make.
There's no way. We'll get to this. I don't even want to start with this right now. Okay. So, how do you experience something?
How do you experience? There's many ways to experience.
Yeah, because you said he didn't experience it as if you know how to experience something. So how do you experience something?
The most straightforward way is actually being in the moment.
You said the most
when that thing is happening.
Okay, so how do you experience something regardless of the most straightforward way? Because that's not what I asked.
You could watch it.
Okay, so in other words, you
like
use one of your senses. You could also smell it. You could also taste it. You could also touch it. You could also hear it.
Sure, you want to get that technical. Yeah. You could smell the fucking third grade Shinobi World War.
Okay,
that's what Madara is doing. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, and you know that's not what I'm talking about. Okay, when I'm talking about actually experiencing the war, the motherfucker was secluded off in a damn cave. Okay, he wasn't an active participant in that shit. Okay, like that's like saying like Ishiki experienced everything that happened in Ninja War. Where the fuck were you at, bro? Where were you at? You weren't there. Yes, technically he was alive for 1,000 years. Throughout the entirety of ninja history, he was there somewhere. We don't know where the fuck he is. Kishimoto never answered the question. You know, he was maybe in another dimension, whatever. But he wasn't actually there. He could have been off, like, just looking at the shit. Oh, okay, that's Naruto Uzumaki. Yeah, I'll deal with him in 30 years.
I'm gonna share my screen. By the way, he had Zetsu, who could act as an extension for him and tell him everything going on. Or, you know, use his Rinnegan, or a Shadow Clone, or literally anything. So he experienced the world, obviously. That's also another way he could have saved Obito. Could have just been a clone. But, you know, it's what
that's like saying someone who went through the Holocaust told me about that, so I experienced the Holocaust too.
Yeah.
Like, no, you didn't.
Not the most straightforward way, like you're saying, but you experienced it.
But that's what I'm talking about, though. The most straightforward way, which is actually being there and seeing this shit and being a part of the event.
Okay, do you have knowledge on the Holocaust? Madara has knowledge on the first 3 Shinobi Wars.
Having knowledge and actually experiencing something are 2 different things. Hey, what?
He was also alive during the time. He was also able to make shadow clones.
Yeah, Madara didn't experience the third grade ninja war.
He had so much control. He was able to put all of those freaking Anbu under Genjutsu. He clearly had access to the outside world. He knew everything that was happening. He knew when Minato was going to go on a mission. He knew when Rin and Kakashi were going to get kidnapped. He knew everything.
Yeah, and all he did was make it work. He made other people's lives worse. Okay? Fuck Madara for that.
Yeah, because they weren't in the Infinite Tsukiyomi yet. That's their own problem. Their own fault. In fact, that's not their own problem. That's society's fault. That is the problem of Hashirama. That's the problem of the universe itself.
No, it's the problem of Madara, dude. Madara is objectively just wrong in its actions.
So Madara says, I finally corrected Hashirama's mistake. This is after the Infinite Tsukuyomi starts. Sakura says,
and then he realized after...
I'm talking here. Sakura says, what do you mean by the first Hokage's mistake? And then Madara clarifies. In the beginning, both Hashirama and I had the same goals. And then he says,
yeah, you know what he says later on? Yeah, perhaps your goal is right after all.
The two of us created the Shinobi Village. And the Shinobi...
Keep going,
oh my God,
keep going.
All it took was Black Zetsu telling him the truth at Infinite Tsukuyomi to realize he was wrong.
No, Oodie, keep going.
The world
keep reading.
moved forward. I'm trying if Kamui would stop interrupting me. In accordance with Hashirama's vision, the fighting between Shinobi hasn't stopped. Rather than ceasing, the battling is what became the first great ninja war. The fighting never stopped. This is Hashirama's legacy to the Shinobi. I think this video's cut up, so it cut out some stuff, but this is Hashirama's legacy to the Shinobi world.
You can't bear to use the real material.
Now everyone is signed the Divine Tree, each one of them dreaming their own idyllic dreams. I just want to be the savior that ends the long history of fighting amongst Shinobi. He did that.
Yeah, he wants to be the savior, and he wasn't actually the savior because he was objectively
the savior.
wrong.
Everyone was under the Infinite Tsukuyomi. The war stopped. Everything he
that's why
he
failed. Because he put him under the Infinite Tsukuyomi.
He achieved everything he sought to achieve. What did Madara
fail at? He was an utter failure.
At what? At what? What did he fail at?
Trying to be the savior.
He was the savior. In this current moment, he's the savior.
Dude, Zetsu, the reliable narrator Zetsu, told him he wasn't the savior. That's all I need to hear.
Reliable narrator.
He is, though. He literally witnessed. He created Shinobi history. Not really.
You literally
he
didn't watch
all Shinobi history.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to people who have been alive a long time, dude, Zetsu's got way more of that old age experience than Madara does.
Zetsu never lived in society.
Madara being an old man,
I don't care about old age experience is an experience. Old age experience is an experience. If you want to talk about, first and foremost, the 5 experiences, he wasn't living in society like Madara was. So Zetsu
He was literally just
standing
there as a tree, pretending to be a human that for some reason people believed was a human. I don't know why they did.
What do you mean he was never living inside of society? What society did he live in?
The Akatsuki society.
Plato's cave. Plato's cave. That's what Plato's cave.
Plato's cave isn't a society.
Okay. So let's talk about what you spoke about. So that's basically that is a society. So you talked about how Madara's goal was to end the consistent fighting among the ninja world, right?
And he did.
No, but I'm not talking about whether he did or not. I'm asking, like, you just said his goal was to end the consistent fighting.
I was literally quoting Madara word for word. Yeah, that's one of his goals.
Okay, right. But this is the thing, though.
That's what the Infinite Tsukuyomi does.
If you actually follow through with the entirety of that goal, he actually doesn't.
How?
Because what is the actual truth of that goal? The Infinite Tsukuyomi. It kills people off, right?
You're going back to this. This isn't in the argument. This is out of bounds.
Because that's the actual truth of the Infinite Tsukuyomi.
We don't care about reality. We're going in circles. Reality doesn't matter. The Naruto
so that's like saying.
Matter.
So basically, that's like saying, let's just kill everybody, and that's how we can stop fight. That's how we can stop the war.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's literally his plan in a nutshell.
The way we experience reality is through our own perceptions, and our experience is what matters. Reality itself doesn't matter if humans aren't there to experience it. Reality only matters. We can only give significance to reality itself by existing.
You're like agreeing with my point about me saying reality and human beings are intertwined.
Reality can exist without humans, and reality can be flawed or perfect without humans. It doesn't require humans.
Okay.
Okay.
Look, that's not. Yes, you can. Yes, technically, everything else can go ahead and exist without us being over here. Okay, but that's not life, and that goes completely away from what Madara
Life isn't
and
reality.
Hashirama are talking about. You're missing my point. You're missing my point.
Go ahead.
It goes back to the issue that we're talking about, which is killing people off or not having them exist goes completely against the whole point. Okay, and you can't sit there and say that everyone just being in this infinite Tsukuyomi, which ultimately leads to their death, is solving the goal or solving the issue of people fighting. That killing people off is not solving the fucking issue. Okay, like, how do we stop cancer? Kill everybody and no one has cancer because no one's alive.
That's Hashirama's
What?
goal. That's not Madara's goal.
No, that's Madara's.
That's not
Madara's goal.
Madara, no, Obi, no, man, keep calling you Obi, jeez, Oodie. Madara's, like, I'm glad you brought the cancer problem. So, Madara's plan here is, okay, let's just say a lot of people, everyone has cancer. Madara's plan is, well, let's just put you in a dream where you think you don't have cancer. You still have cancer, and you're still gonna die.
That's not how the infinite
But, like,
works.
oh, we think we don't have cancer now. Hey, you still have cancer, dude. You didn't solve the problem.
It's implied infinite Tsukuyomi heals. It auto-heals. It has auto-healing capabilities.
Regardless of whatever it heals, it ultimately doesn't heal the fact that you're going to fucking die. That's what it doesn't heal.
Prove
that's
that.
What I'm talking about.
You can't prove that.
What do you mean prove that? That is exactly what was going to happen every single time the infinite Tsukuyomi has been casted, which is twice in history.
I mean, outside of the Zetsu thing. And you can't even prove the Zetsu thing applies to Madara's infinite Tsukuyomi.
I also love this scene of Madara as he's being turned into Kaguya saying, Hashirama, where did I go wrong? He's admitting he's wrong.
No, he's asking where because he didn't go wrong.
Yes, he doesn't. He's wondering when he went wrong, but he knows he was wrong.
He's not wondering when. He's wondering where.
Here's Sasuke telling Madara, "You're just deceiving people." Here's Zetsu telling Madara, "You're wrong, Madara."
It's the same as him saying, "Where did I go wrong? Nowhere." It's the same as him saying, "I went wrong nowhere." That's what he's saying.
No, it isn't. Because
it's the same thing.
No, it's not the same. Because he knows he went wrong. He just doesn't know where he went wrong.
He didn't go wrong anywhere. That's why he's saying this. That's why he's saying this.
No, he wouldn't say that. He would say, I didn't do anything wrong. No, he's admitting he went wrong. Okay,
he's
Oodie,
not admitting he went wrong.
If I know I got a 0 on a test, and I'm like, well, where did I mess up on all my questions? Like, I know I got it wrong because I got a 0 on the test.
I'm glad you're bringing up this
but I don't necessarily know where I messed up on the problem until I see the report and it tells me where I made my mistakes.
Yeah.
If anything, he's asking Hashirama to be his teacher and tell him where he went wrong.
Madara thinks he's right. He doesn't know where he could have gone wrong.
He thinks he's wrong at this point. At this point, he literally says he wouldn't have done this if he knew. Like, he's like, I'm wrong. He realizes he's wrong.
He's thinking, I'm not wrong, so why is this happening?
No, he isn't.
Yes, he is.
Dude, if
he's
he wasn't
admitting
wrong,
he's wrong.
If he wasn't wrong, he wouldn't have been laying on the ground, literally dying.
Do you think that was
what the fuck he envisioned?
He achieved his goal. He achieved his end goal. Everyone was dreaming idyllic dreams.
And he learned that his end goal was wrong.
He is the savior of humanity.
Goal, and then he found out his end goal was wrong.
He literally achieved his end goal.
If he achieved his goal...
and that's how he knows it's wrong.
No, if he achieved his goal, why would he literally be saying the words, perhaps your way was right, Hashirama?
Because Hashirama had his knee on Madara's chest, so he couldn't even breathe.
No, he didn't. You just said Hashirama and Madara disagreed at the what they were supposed to do in terms of like the solution to all the fighting in the ninja world. Okay, you can't say Madara was right or he believed that he was right if he's literally then asking the question, Hashirama, or not that question, but saying perhaps Hashirama, you were right. That doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. If they disagreed on the end point, why would he believe that he's right, but also say, Hashirama, perhaps your way was right too? What? But you both believe, that Hashirama was wrong.
Hashirama was wrong and Madara was right. It's blatantly obvious after everything I've explained. I don't know how you could possibly come to a different conclusion. I prevented the thesis. I provided the antithesis. I prevented both sides of the argument and why one is right and why one is wrong.
You never provided whatever you may have said for our argument was just bad. Then, okay, he's wrong, dude.
Okay, let's just hear this, Oodie. I want to hear your answer. If you think that if you think that Madara believed that he was right, why did he then say, perhaps Hashirama, your way was the correct way? Why did he say that? Honest answer.
Because it's less than 50%.
Which is blatantly wrong. Actually, Oodie, where did you get that from? I've been meaning to find out the answer.
I already gave you my way to
or
get
if anything, Oodie, anything.
No, wait. When did you give me that? Give me where you got that from.
Perhaps it's just less sure than maybe. And maybe.
Where did you get that from? Where are you getting this from?
From
because nothing we can find says that.
Connotation of the word, the diction.
Look at it this way. What do you?
Again, give me a source, because I think you're just wrong.
Middle school.
Yeah, your middle school memory is just wrong. The connotation of perhaps is not less than 50% or less than maybe.
Even if you believe that.
No, it isn't.
Oodie,
if any,
Oodie,
no, it's not.
Even if you believe that, guess what? Beforehand, he thought it was fucking 0%.
Yeah,
and that's
he straight up thought Hashirama was wrong, and now he's saying at the very minimum,
that goes back to the duality of man.
Well, there's a chance Hashirama was right.
No,
and
because
Hashirama's knee was not on
Madara,
he's literally
unlike Hashirama, Madara acknowledged both the positives and negatives of society.
And that
Hashirama acknowledges the positives and negatives
too. He
always
knew that. Okay, I'm fine with that. But Hashirama was refusing to move on.
So both Hashirama and Madara acknowledge the positives and negatives of society. Madara pessimistically focuses on the negatives.
No, he doesn't.
He acknowledges the positives, but he focuses. Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Hashirama optimistically.
They both do the same thing.
Acknowledges the
That's
negatives,
not
but
correct.
he focuses on the positives.
That's a fundamentally flawed view of the series. That's not what the series is trying to portray to you.
Yes, it is, Oodie. That's why Madara's escaping the reality, because he's focusing on the negatives too much.
Hashirama refuses to look at the average, to look at the lump sum. In fact, you could argue Hashirama knows society itself is negative because he's trying to entrust the next generation to find a better path.
Because he's focusing on the positive.
Where did Hashirama ever say that, though? Where did Hashirama ever say he does not acknowledging the average?
The implications. Where is any of this ever said? B-man, I'm not looking it up right now.
That's my point, though.
It's in the essay. It's already cited. Go find it in the essay.
I'm not talking about the essay. I'm not talking about the essay. I'm talking about the actual manga chapters, the actual panels. Where did he say that?
Essay cites the manga chapters.
When you find that...
Wait, hold on. What are you quoting
because he never said
specifically again?
Oh my god.
What do you think Hashirama said?
It's not even what I said. He's putting words in my mouth saying that I said something. I never said it.
No. Oodie, what did Hashirama say? What are you saying Hashirama said?
No, what did he say I said? That's what I want to hear.
That's what you're saying.
I want to know what Hashirama is supposedly saying.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Say what I'm saying, and I'll correct you.
Okay, tell me if I'm wrong then. Tell me if I'm wrong. Because you literally just said Hashirama is not admitting not admitting the average of both the pessimistic and the optimistic. Yes or no?
Yes.
Is that not what you just said?
Yes.
Okay. But that's my point. Where the hell did he ever say that in the manga? At what point did he say that? And you follow up and said implications.
Yes, of course. Because at no point in the manga does Hashirama say, Madara, I am failing to acknowledge the average of the positives and negatives of society, and that is where I differ from you. He never says that directly because people don't talk like that, which is why you have to rely on the implications.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Can you just say it in a normal way? Never mind your lump sum averages thing. Okay, Hashirama is just realizes there are problems and looks at the future optimistically. Madara sees problems and looks at it pessimistically. There you go. That's what's happening here. And it's saying perhaps your optimistic view is the correct way. It's a simplified version. Never mind your lump sums, averages shit.
Oh,
like it's not relevant.
Kamui. 20-second outro. It has to be under 6 hours so I can cut it up. You got 15 seconds.